How's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream. Should be a fun one. It's going to be a couple best of five showdowns. So in total, this tournament does have 4 rounds, and I've actually completed all of my games in the tournament, but these are going to be the first 2 best of fives, and then on a separate stream, we will be doing the other 2 best of fives to round out all 4 matches in total. So it's a pretty fun format for sure, and usually I'm not able to play in traditional long-form tournaments. Because of obviously, having to play, potentially, 5 or 6 best of 3s plus a best of 5. It's a little bit tough on my hand that is recovering from the surgery. But in this format, it's quite nice. Basically, you play 1 best of 5 per week or 2 best of 5s per week. And, I can easily play 2 best of 5s in a single day. So it's been a very, very good format for me. And I've had a chance to really get in and grind my teeth here on the tournament scene. And I have to say, these players are very skilled, and these are an awesome set of matches. So it is being hosted by the Wargaming Institute. It is essentially a channel on the equivalent of Chinese YouTube. So I'll drop a link to that, and you guys can see their casting, of course, if you're interested. But that'll be dropped after the stream is over. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome. I know Lady Turin nailed it with this one. The hot dog eagle and, the mullet. And I'm actually potentially growing my hair out again, so we'll see what happens for the Held and Hammer indeed. So these battles are not going to be live. They're all pre-recorded, which means there won't be any lag or any issues like that tend to happen in live tournaments, so it should be fun. I had a great Christmas. All was well. So as far as the structure of the tournament goes, if we take a look here, you can see essentially it's myself, Felkon, Fisstech, and Soothsayer. So they have 4 players from essentially the West here. So Turin, Felkon, Fisstech, and Soothsayer facing off against 4 of their top players. So unfortunately, I cannot read this, but I know you guys will see a couple of their names. Some of them have translated names in the matches I played, but for the most part, it's going to be us 4 facing off against 4 of their top players. So it's a very, very fun format. And yeah, I've had a blast. Every player I played against has been a great sport. And yeah, that's that. How you guys doing? Welcome. Let's cast some games, huh? Let's do it to it. It's very eager to see. I think I'm the first person to finish all 4 of my games. But I think Felkon may have dropped out of the tournament. I'm not sure. I'll have to confirm with him. I think he just had some scheduling stuff, so he may have been replaced. But nonetheless, we, of course, have Fisstech, who won the Ever-Chosen, and Soothsayer, who, of course, is a legend in the community as well. And, yeah. Yes, I am live, correct. I am casting this live. The stream is live right now, yeah. This isn't pre-recorded. The battles are, but, of course, the commentary and everything is going to be live here. So yeah, today we'll be casting the first 2 best of 5s, and then after that, we'll be jumping off stream, and then we'll be back either tomorrow or the next day to cast the next round of games. Just got to get those replays organized and labeled correctly, and we will go from there. So the first match, yeah, the meta is a little bit different for sure. Some of the games I played, there were some builds I really didn't expect that were very, very different than stuff you see in the traditional tournaments we have over here, which are mostly Europeans and Americans. It was quite cool. Definitely learned a lot. And, it was kind of cool, too, because my builds probably felt different to them as well. So there's probably a little bit of back and forth there in that respect. There's a couple builds, which I'll show you guys today, that, you can tell are, very different, right? Yeah. Hadri says 2 Russians, a German, and Turin as the American. Yeah. All right. So let's get this first match all set up here. It's going to be myself on the Wood Elves facing off against Kami-sama. This is one of the more recent matches I played. Certainly was a great one. So it's going to be my Wood Elves against his Greenskins. That's something I noticed, is that a lot of the players, either in Han Clan or seem to be very skilled Greenskin players. So you guys will get to see quite a bit of Greenskins here in this tournament. They were picked very, very frequently by my opponents. So this is the first best of 5. And we'll do it to it, man. Felkon says, I conceded from this tourney, so sorry in advance. Okay, a little bit of misinformation. Oh, okay. No worries. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you actually dropped out of the tournament or if you had someone play one match for you, so we'll update the graphic for the next game. So let's load into this one. This is the first match in the best of 5 series between myself and Kami-sama. We'll get in there and have some fun. So we are currently playing in the banner rules, which was something that made it appealing for me. If it was under a different rule set I wasn't familiar with, I don't know if I would have participated, but they did do it in banner rules, which is definitely a nice gesture. So I knew, the rules obviously like the back of my hand, more or less. So that's that. Felkon, did you have someone replace you in the tournament? Yeah, you must have. Anyways, guys, so it's going to be my Wood Elves here, and this is a slight variation of my standard build. Normally, I either use the Sisters of Twilight or Orion here, but I decided to try Dryka here, hoping that she would help me sustain in the infantry fight a little bit longer with her summons and would just be kind of a tough presence. Now, it's a little bit of rock, paper, scissors. If you do go with Dryka, you usually do very well against Garznik, but if you go with Dryka and they bring Grom de Ponch, it can be kind of rough. He's obviously an anti-infantry piece, and Draika's armor, I think, is like, it's not bad, actually. She's got 80 armor, so she's not, super squishy against that, but nonetheless, it's not the prettiest thing in the world. So, front line's going to be Dryads. We got 4 in total. We do also have Draika as well, with Aerial, backed up by Starfire Shafts, basically a countermeasure against Stone Trolls, and Wild Riders on the flanks to contest the cavalry fights and, potentially chase things off the battlefield, and of course, probably one of the more oppressive units in the Lost Sylvan Knights. Yeah, and after the stream is over, I can send you guys a link to the equivalent of the Chinese YouTube, and you can see they actually casted this entire series today. So I was like, all right, let's cast this one as well to get it from either language you're looking to hear it in. So Lost Sylvan Knights, Stag Knights, and for him, pretty cool build. Goblins in the front line, obviously just kind of sacrificing the initial engagement. Dryads will massacre them, but then he has Orc Biggins backed up by Stone Trolls, and Orc Biggins have been super meta in this matchup for a long time. Biggins spam, having as many as the rules allow is very, very common here. On the flanks, he's got Orc Boar Boys, backed up here by Forest Goblin Spider Riders, a single Doom Diver Catapult, which I love. Even if you're just shooting at the Stag Knights the entire time and they have that huge physical resist, it's going to be enough to potentially pick off models over the course of a long fight. So I think this is a pretty cool, cost-effective inclusion. Definitely something I didn't bring in this matchup too often, but I do like it, especially since most Wood Elves and their dogs are probably going to be rushing you nowadays. So I don't think you have to worry about Arrows of Kurnus and things like that. So, oh, you guys are saying the name translates to God? All right, cool. We got Orc Shaman right here. On the flank, we got Forest Goblin Spider Riders backed up by some more pigs, and that is pretty much it. So we'll see how it unfolds. Dryads in the front line should have some pretty proper trades versus the Goblins. Hopefully, these Starfire Shafts can counter the Stone Trolls. I had actually already played one of his clanmates before this, and he brought a very similar build, but his clanmate did not bring the Doom Diver Catapult and also had brought Skarsnik instead of Grom. A little bit of a different variant. Now, going after the Wild Riders here, certainly cost-effective. He's already picked off 3 models, I think, so certainly not bad. And now my Starfire Shafts are going to be moving into range of the Stone Trolls, and we should be able to break the Stone Trolls relatively quickly here. So here comes the first volleys from the Starfire Shafts, going in there, buttering some bread onto the Stone Trolls, and you can see really good value right out of the gates. Dryads moving in with Draika. She's got her branches out, and this should be a nice fight for the Dryads, although they are getting hammered pretty good by the Stone Trolls, but holding them in place, very, very cost effective, and you can see the Trolls are almost already down to half health. But with Trolls, it's really about, killing the models more so than just doing a little bit of a topical damage. Being very conservative in the back with my Cav, Wild Riders, and other units kind of chilling back here. But now the Lost Sylvan Knights are going to be screaming into the frontline engagement, maybe for a little cycle charging. And here we're trying to get engagement with the Wild Riders, but he pulls back, tries to bait me into some Goblins. But I pull back as well with these units, and now we do have Aerial moving into the front line, getting ready to drop, I believe, a Soul Stealer right here. Can't quite remember. Looks like There We Go is going down from Grom the Paunch at the very least, but now the Lost Sylvan Knight's going to be moving in. Dryads are going to take the charge from the Orc Boys. And here in the center, Goblins are broken, Stone Trolls are broken, so far the Starfire Shafts are generating some really big value, and they're more or less safe. I'm leaving, of course, a couple Cav units back there to try and defend. And some of these Wild Riders did kind of squeak through here, because I was planning on maybe going into the backfield after the Doom Divers, but he was pretty quick to respond with some harass, and I think also his Stone Trolls will be able to intercept me, so a little bit of an ugly situation. So here the Lost Sylvan Knights really probably taking more damage than they should. The Fist of Gork and Waz active, so really good counterplay from my opponent. He's able to get magic damage on top of the Stone Trolls, and from there they're able to do a ton of damage against my Lost Sylvan Knights. So I do respond with Berry Wine, trying to heal those guys up and keeping them, relatively sustainable. And, the best part of the game so far for me has been the fact that the Stone Trolls have been kind of nullified, but he has been able to do great damage against Sylvan Knights, and many of the Cav engagements have been going quite well for him. I try and swarm the back line with the Wild Riders, but I thought I could break those Stone Trolls, but I didn't quite break them. We also summoned the Malevolent Dryads from Draika and sent them back here to try and break the Trolls with a little bit of magic damage, and of course getting on top of the Doom Diver, which has been doing great damage all game, but at least we've occupied a lot of his force. Now back in the frontline engagement, Draika is fighting Grom the Paunch, and Ariel's getting in there being a crazy fairy lady, and there goes, I believe, the Acorn of the Oak of Ages, which does do some nice splash damage to these greenskin troops, and so far so good. Archers are still going pretty strong. We're able to blast down these Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Some pigs are coming in the back line, the Orc Boars, but my spears are nearby, so the Eternal Guard are going to be rushing in with their spears, and will be intercepting the Orc Boar Boys, and hopefully should be able to kill them, especially with the Race of the Frozen Heart, applying a little bit of frostbite to these guys, so we'll see how that goes. Now back into the Epicenter Battle, Ariel's a little bit surrounded, trying to get Draika back to Ariel so they can potentially fight off Grom the Paunch together. And here the not Lost Sylvan Knights, but my Wild Riders are doing the best they can to try and break his Stone Trolls, because his Trolls keep coming back. We get a nice charge there, we do kill several Trolls on impact, and hopefully we can shatter them. The Wild Riders definitely take a little bit of damage on the impact as well, but that was a really, really nice one right there for sure. Getting those Stone Trolls potentially broken or shattered is something that I need to win this game here. Because in his backfield, the big problem for me, really, really big problem, is his Doom Diver's still online, so he's going to have that constant annoying pressure. So I can't sit back with my archers and just kind of force them to come to me. I'm going to have to take a little bit of an aggressive posture here. So now Ariel and the Dryka lady going to be moving forward, going after Biggins. Biggins are certainly a choice target when they're isolated and don't have any support. Should be able to potentially get a tear route on these guys with Ariel here in just a moment as they're already shaken. And nice flash attacks coming in from Ariel. That looks like some really, really solid damage. So at this point, we're moving up. Balance of power is a little bit in my opponent's favor at this point. He's certainly... in this, it felt pretty close, but the Doomdiver Catapult being online, plus Grom the Paunch, and unfortunately, too, he's also potentially going to be rallying his Trolls here. He's got Stone Trolls there and there, both of which are healing, so he'll probably give up the Doomdiver Catapult in order to regroup his army over here and get those bad boys kind of functional and going once again. Lost Sylvan Knights are back. Thankfully, I didn't lose them, and that's the really important thing. They're still going to be able to tear out a bunch of chaff off the battlefield, and here we were able to get some Glade Riders just to chase down the Orc Boar Boys and really put some hurt on them. But the main force is advancing, methodically just kind of picking off troops as I go with Ariel and Dryka. But those damn Trolls are back, man. You can see here he's got 11 of 12 Stone Trolls, which is insane. Those guys could potentially heal to full health over the course of a long grindy game, which this is turning out to be, and that could be a huge factor. And these other Stone Trolls look to be running off the battlefield here. If I could get them off, that'd be a really, really nice situation for me. And here the Blade Guard with the Starfire Shafts pushing up. Dryad's also pushing in, but we're not quite able to get there. And he's got a pretty big Angry Force too. He's got a ton of Spider Riders, also a full health unit of Biggins here more or less, who are only tired, not quite exhausted yet. So I really need to break those guys, but Grom the Paunch getting in here too is tough. I do have some mass via the Lost Sylvan Knights, which I believe were trying to chase down some of his skirmishers somewhere. Yeah, no, now they're going back here. So the Lost Sylvan Knights finally able to get back there and shut down that frickin' Doomdiver Catapult, which is going to be quite important. So here we are. The Doomdiver Catapult is being hunted down by the Lost Sylvan Knights, and it looks like it's going to get broken. A big grab for sure. Balance of power is still in my opponent's favor. I figured I had Terror Routes, and we're also able to get a big Soul Stealer back here. So the Greenskins did move in and blobbed up on me. So I use a Malevolent Dryad summon from Dryka. Ariel gets a Soul Stealer, and we get some good value, but he still has so much mobility. And these damn Trolls. We have 11 Stone Trolls coming back, which are going to be a fairly big problem here. And my Lost Sylvan Knights are kind of being screened out by a bunch of chaff, and they're very low at this point too. So I probably need to get them back in here while I still do have the Malevolent Dryads, but we'll certainly see how that goes. But all my archers are shut down. Balance of power is actually coming back to the middle a little bit. Very, very close game here as we are approaching the 6.5 minute mark. Lost Sylvan Knights, I thought I could maybe come in here and bunker bust these Stone Trolls and get some leadership routes. Maybe one more Soul Stealer, but at this point in the game, I think I was very, very low in Winds of Magic. I'd already used, I think, 2 Soul Stealers, and on top of that, I think a couple of Apotheosis as well on Dryka. Now, something that's cool is Dryka does have a really nice ability, and there's the Acorn of the Ages doing a nice nuke on the Greenskin forces, and yeah, my opponent's screening really well, not letting my Lost Sylvan Knights get onto the blob. That's what I really wanted, to get like a mass terror route here from the Greenskins. But he does an excellent job screening me out and not letting me get back into the main engagement here. Yeah, Orion certainly would have been very good here. You know, it's kind of like if you bring Orion and they bring Skarsnik, it's not the best for you. If they bring Grom the Paunch and you bring Dryka, it's kind of like a rock, paper, scissors. In my experience, though, I found the safest lord to bring is probably the Sisters of Twilight, in my experience in this matchup. But I've also had great success with Dryka as well against Skarsnik. If they bring like Skarsnik and try and Rampage or Sylvan Knights into Magic, that can be where you really shine. Now, Wah's going down, giving his whole army immune to Psychology, which means I was going to charge right there, but then he used the Wah. His whole army's immune to Psych. It was a really masterful play on his part. So it kind of like blundered my charge, and then from there I didn't want to get caught in combat with the you know, the Orc Boar Boys and some shitty Goblins. But that also bought time for him to break Dryka, and Ariel is also in some really, really bad shape as well. So it's looking like that is going to be game 1 here. Now, remember, this is a best-of-5 series, so there will be many, many glorious battles to be had here on the stream, but it looks like my opponent here is going to be drawing first blood here in this tournament. And Lost Sylvan Knights do eventually get in there, but like, there's no good engagements. Grom keeps peeling out. I'm trying to like get him out to open field and get some terror routes and things like that, but maybe I should have just committed the Lost Sylvan Knights a little bit earlier, but I don't think it would have mattered. And at this point, it's mainly just cleanup, as he just has to grind down my, you know, ethereal and unbreakable units, and that is going to be game 1 for my opponent. A very, very well played game. It's a matchup that, you know, I've been trying to figure out with Wood Elves, or with Greenskins, but his build was definitely cool, and really good usage of the Fist of Gork on the Shaman. And Grom the Paunch was also a pain, man. You know, he was able to kill Dryka in the end game, and yeah, I didn't quite get the Trolls. So there you have it, guys. Let's go ahead and update the scoreboard. That's going to be game 1 between myself and Kami-sama in this best-of-5. It was a very, very close match. And I felt like Dryka was the weak link. I mean, she got her summons off, but was really struggling against Grom the Paunch and the mobility. But I do think that probably going with Orion and or the Sisters of Twilight, I probably would have been able to win that game. But hard to say. Hard to say. The Archers did great. 1100, 1100. Lost Sylvan Knights, I was a little bit sloppy with them that game, I have to admit. And the Wild Riders really kind of got crumped. I was surprised. I thought they would trade much more efficiently with the Greenskin Cav, but I suppose the armor buffs to the Greenskin Cav have really changed that. But normally, guys, I would highly recommend this build. I would just probably substitute Drika out for either Sisters or Orion, and I think he'll be a little bit safer. So, yeah, Zerthu is good in this matchup too. Zerthu can be an absolute terror in the night, but he's a little bit slower, so you have to be careful. Melonhead, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. And we have a donation from Noodles as well. Hey, Turin, are there Swiss tournaments going to be ongoing? Yes, they are. We're going to have Swiss tournaments all year round. So when this one ends, we'll start another one. You're going to be getting them all, and you'll be treating yourself. And the Ash Heritor, let this small donation help fund the robotic claw and to replace your Haggard hand. Thank you, man. Appreciate the $12.28. Thank you guys so much for your support. And he played very well that game. It was a solid match. No, Ariel's really good. Yeah, but definitely having her and Orion in a Blob and late game would be stronger. But, you know, I changed the build up from my original build and I paid the price for it. And my opponent played very well. So now we go back here and, of course, we got to load into the next match here in this best of 5 series. It's going to be, let's find it down here. There's so many replays from this tournament. Hot damn. Hot damn, man. It's here somewhere. I think it's here. No. Yes. So this next game was amazing. Oh man, it's my Empire, so my Sons of Sigmar versus his Warriors of Chaos. So we'll be loading into this game here in just a moment. Yeah, for sure. Maybe getting a little bit more support with Drika, cutting Ariel, getting a basic caster, or just using her as a shadow caster to like pendulum down Biggins and things like that. I've had great success with Ariel so far, but yeah, it's a tricky one. So next map is going to be Troll Country, and it's going to be Karl Franz facing off against Warp Chicken. We'll be loading in just a moment here. Yeah, Zerthu can do work. He's a little bit slow and can die to a lot of focus fire from missiles, but also is very, very tough to take down. So, all right, so here we are. So this is one of my Empire builds. I have a couple because, you know, if you start to get very involved in tournaments, and especially if you're someone who, my replays are usually all out there on YouTube. So if people want to know my builds, they can go and watch my most recent replays. So I found it very important when I play in events to switch up my builds quite often because I find that otherwise I can tend to get countered quite a bit. So here we do have double greatsword in the front line. It's going to be Franz, baby. Oh, guys, by the way, Lady Turn got me a stream deck for Christmas, and like I'm programming buttons to like play different sounds. Let's see if it works. So hold on. So let's try the.
This action does not have my consent.
Did that work? Yeah, that's perfect. Oh yeah, we even have like a custom Franz one. Let's see. We can give the epic speech here. Let's try it.
For Sigmar, for the Empire,
for
the Warhammer.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, so I have like some programs for some different factions. It's pretty awesome for sure. I have Gelt on there too. All right, so my front line is going to be double greatsword. I do have the silver bullets in the back, spearmen on the flanks, the classic double Demogryph Knight hammer. So we have the Royal Altdorf Gryphites backed up by Demogryph Knights with halberds, and there is going to be a Hellblaster volley gun as well. So you know what I've been finding lately is like the Hellblaster volley gun. I've just been getting so much more value from this thing than I have from like cannons and things like that. Oh, man, Hellblaster volley gun's so cool. So it's very much a defensive Hellblaster build with Demogryph Knights to sweep and Franz to go and fight some like big lords and things like that. So yeah, you guys like that? It's pretty fun. Yeah, always a good time. And now for the Warriors of Chaos, my opponent here, the Kami-sama, coming in with the Chaos Warriors. He does also have Sarthoriel the Everwatcher, Exalted Hero, some Chariots to penetrate into my gun lines, and here in the back, more Marauders, Marauder Horsemen on the flanks with Hounds. Very, by Sigmar, no. Yeah, that'd be a good one too. If there's anything you guys suggest, do let me know. Boris is still a decent lord for sure. If you want to bring a caster that isn't a life caster, Boris can often be a good choice. So Troll Country, very small map, and obviously my opponent wanting to charge the Chaos Chariots into my greatswords for free, but my Demogryph Knights, the Royal Altdorf Gryphites, are going to be moving up there, and yeah, just getting ready to hammer down those Chaos Chariots. So far, handguns got some good value, able to blast those Chaos Chariots, but my opponent, very much the classic Chaos, going to be getting a surround in my army, so coming around all flanks, and my Haggard Spearmen are going to have to fight Chaos Warriors, which is very, very lore friendly. Bombardment coming down here on top of the silver bullets from Warp Chicken, trying to use a Searing Doom, but I do see it coming, and am able to dodge that, which was quite nice, and the Hellblaster Volley Gun shooting into the Chaos Warriors, and instantly getting like 400 gold value. Hellblaster volley guns are just so badass, dude. Look at the damage they're thundering down on this dude. And you can see the Chaos Warriors with Great Weapons definitely having a bad time. Demogryph Knight's hammering into the Chaos Warriors here as well, trying to get some freebies while his heroic support is nearby. His double Exalted Hero going to be moving into the Greatswords now as they fight the Chaos Warriors, and definitely getting some good work. But Franz is going to be brought to his men, and the Emperor is going to be leading in, going after that Exalted Hero, and getting some huge damage. I don't think I had Gul Miraz, I think I had Reichland Runefang, so pop that, of course, to get the melee attack, and we are able to get some big damage there. Now, A couple hounds do slip through the cracks of my formation. Very, very good control from my opponent there. But my Demogryph Knights with halberds are able to retreat from the cycle charging they were doing in the front line, hammer back, and the Chaos Horror Hounds should be defeated rather quickly here by the Demogryph Knights. Empire Greatswords in the front doing some awesome work. You can see they're able to batter through the Chaos Warriors with a little bit of Demogryph Knight support. And the Demis really have been an MVP so far. They've just been massacring these Chaos Chariots. Like every time the Chariots come in, just kind of like pretending to be like a linebacker in the NFL following a running back, just hunting down the Chaos Chariots and getting great value. On top of that, Franz is just being an absolute beast. His Greatswords are getting a little bit, beleaguered here in the front, but the stand your ground cry from the Franz is able to rally those guys, and he also does break one of the Exalted Heroes and begins doing damage to Warp Chicken as well as the other Exalted Hero. Now in the backfield, he does have some good pressure coming in. Marauder Horsemen, Spears are able to screen out those Chaos Warhounds, and the Chariots are finally broken off by the pulling Demogryph Knights, so the Demis do pull back here, but my opponent catches me in a pretty nice final transmutation. I believe he's able to get some Demis and silver bullets, and I think he also hits Franz as well up here in the front. Yeah, an overcasted one. So Franz takes a ton of damage. You know, I didn't notice that during the game, but now that I see this, I'm like, oh, that's what happened. So in response to that, I do cast a regrowth on Franz, and Franz is going to keep holding here. He's got some more greatswords coming in from the other flank, but I do need to pull back. Franz needs his men to be brought to him for once, and the Demogryph Knights do lance in there, and we get a full surround here on the Exalted Heroes. That is like a dream situation. And now Franz and his Royal Altdorf Griffites and Demogryph Knights are just going to be going to town here on these Exalted Heroes. All the while, the Hellblaster Volley Gun, it's kind of running under the radar. The Hellblaster Volley Gun has been doing massive damage, just eviscerating these Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and you can see they're really taking quite a righteous hammering here as Franz and the boys are able to secure that center position. So Silver Bullet's a little bit compromised. I wasn't able to quite protect everything. He could certainly bounce with these horsemen, and now the Chaos Warriors have broken through the flank and are going to be pressuring into the Hellblaster Volley Gun as it continues to just decimate these Chaos Marauders and advancing troops. Franz here getting some beautiful damage. Franz able to pound that Exalted Hero into the Shadow Realm, and he's at -8 leadership. Going to be running despite his Mark of Khorne. And the Demogryph Knights are now moving forward and going after Chaos Marauders. It's games like this that make me happy. I have an Empire army in tabletop with Franz and with Demogryph Knights. They're just like badass units, dude. Now, Chaos is certainly not out of it yet. They still have the Warp Chicken, a fair amount of Chaos Infantry. I'm very far ahead on the Bounce of Power, but now he's been able to shut down my Silver Bullets here in the backfield, and the Sigmar Sons are going to be trying to screen back the Horde, which is what they're all about, man. An inexorable tide of chaos advancing here on the brave Sons of Sigmar. Franz's shadow flying overhead, and he's going to be landing right here, going after the big chicken. Dustin, welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. Thank you so much for your support, and hopefully you enjoy the new emojis, my friend. So Karl Franz getting in there, going after the chicken, standardized active here. Demogryph Knights are still very healthy, and I figured, hey, why fight these Chaos Warriors when I don't have to? Pull the Demogryph Knights back, free up my backline from these Marauder Horsemen, send in some Spearmen, and continue blasting them with the Hellblaster Volley Gun, which is just ripping into these guys. On top of that, Chicken is really having a bad time. Reichel and Runefang giving some huge combat buffs, putting the Sigmar Sons up to 65-70 right now with Franz's combined buffs. A nice Searing Doom right there, I guess. Did a little bit of damage, not too much. It was a little bit of a hard cast right there, but nonetheless, the Jade Wizard should be able to fend off the Horsemen back here, and the Demis are kind of sweeping around the battlefield, causing some substantial problems. So Franz, in the meantime, on the hunt, going after Sartorial. He pulls back up in the sky, so I have a couple cycle charging opportunities. I saw the Exalted Hero in the Chariot, figured they might be pretty important to take down, because now my battle lines are getting a little bit tight. He's pushed very, very close to my Hellblaster Volley Gun, which I am so excited to show you guys the Hellblaster Volley Gun value this game. That thing has just been doing the work. Franz gets a little bit trapped up, though. Bit of a scary situation. Warp Chicken plus some Chariots going after him. Warp Chicken does not have the best AP, so Franz with his 100 armor should be okay there. So we're going to be retreating back and through these Chaos Warriors, trying to get to my Demogryph Knights, and now we have some support. Granted, I do not want Demis in sustained combat with Chaos Warriors with great weapons. You know, the great weapons will be pretty effective against the armor of the Griffites, but the Hellblaster Volley Gun shooting downtown is able to break the Chaos Chariot off the battlefield. You can see the pieces going down right there. And yeah, so here comes the Jade Wizard rotating back in. Franz being brought in for one final death blow to the chicken. The Emperor of Man raising Galmaraz in the sky. Deathclaw, the death blow onto the chicken. That is going to be a victory for the Sons of Sigmar. Certainly a very, very fierce battle there, but in the end, the build worked out pretty well. The Greatswords were able to win their fights with Franz's support. Pretty good value, considering, you know, elite infantry usually don't do that well. 710 plus 849, but the Hellblaster Volley Gun was the MVP. It ran under the radar, but man, oh man, 2,400 value on that Hellblaster Volley Gun. That bad boy paid for itself twice over, dude. On top of that, Royal Altdorf Griffites did great. Demis did great with 1,500. Demis are like always solid in the Chaos matchup, in my opinion. Some people like to go Lances. I rotate back and forth. But really, probably going Demis with halberds here and then regular Lances on the standard variant would be more effective, considering how common Chaos Infantry are. like hordes of them in this matchup. And Franz did great. Look at Franz, man. Franz got 2,800 gold value, just an absolute monster. Warp Chicken did pretty good, 2,900 because he nailed a lot of my elite units with the final transmutation. But generally speaking, yeah, the Exalted Heroes really got shut down. The Warriors got okay value across the board. A couple of them paid for themselves, but we shut down the Chariots very effectively. The Demograph Knight Hammer squad running around was just beautiful for sure. Oh, you guys want the Dryka scream? Here, I have this one for you guys.
Welcome to Estalia, gentlemen. Right, I will not lie. The chances of your survival are small.
All right, so let's go ahead and switch here to the intro graphic here while we load into the next match. Yes. The meta is a little bit different for sure. The meta is a little bit different. All right, so let me load down here, get the replays for you guys. So game 3 was my Vampire Coast against his Bretonnia. So apparently Bretonnia is like super popular in their meta. Like I think in the Chinese meta, they think Bretonnia is one of the best factions, if not the best. Which Bretonnia is very strong, mind you. It's just a little bit different than our perception here, right? He did the meme. I know. I have it on a button now. I can just press that on command and it'll play. Hey, Christian Bender, thank you for the donation of the 50 DKK. He says, love your channel, bro. Why is Dryka so good at business? Because she knows when to branch out. Nice, dude. That was good. I like that, Christian. Solid one. Solid one. Don't worry, I didn't miss it. Feels like we're hearing that one quite a bit. Yeah, it's a little bit overdone at this point, isn't it? All right, so next match in this best of 5 between myself and Kami-sama is going to be my Vampire Coast, led by Queen Bessie. All hail the mighty. So good. All right, let's load in. Let's do it. So it's my coast, actually led by Count Noctilus, who's going to be on foot, facing off against Bretonnia. It's going to be led by Kami-sama. Should be quite a bit of fun. He's got the Green Knight. Yeah, it's pretty scary for sure. I think Bretonnia is pretty strong for sure. In the hands of like high level players, Bretonnia can be really terrifying. The lady's popular in China because she empowers everyone. All right, very cool. Very cool. The poison change was really big for Bretonians. I agree. So for my build, it's a little bit antiquated, but it still does the trick. It still holds up. It still checks out. Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs. We got bombers here in the secondary in case he goes for like a Battle Pilgrim rush, which is not uncommon. Got to have a couple bombers. In the back, we got halberds stacked with handguns. So 1, 2, 3, I think 3 handguns in total. Queen Bessie with the gunnery white to give extra powder. Now, Queen Bess is really good. Bretonnia, at least as my perception of this matchup goes, likes to spam peasant archers backed up by like, cavalry. So you basically have the handguns to kill Cav with Count Noctilus and the Colossus. And then to kill the archers, you just have Queen Bess with like infinite ammo from the gunnery white. And you're able to really, really shine there. So it's pretty much my build. It's a beaut. That's all I got to say. For my opponent, the Kami-sama, he's got a front line here of men-at-arms with shields. Now, the one thing, it was really funny. I was actually in chat with Hadries and a couple other folks while I was playing this game, and I was like, the one thing I think I would lose to would be the Green Knight. Like, he's probably not going to bring it, so I'm not going to bother bringing magic damage, really. And then suddenly the Green Knight, like, emerges from the tree line, dude, just, like, riding out Gilles. And I was like, oh, God, not the Green Knight. So it's Green Knight, Fey Enchantress, and Paladin, mass peasant archers with men-at-arms. Flanks are going to be Knights Errant and Trebuchet in the back as well. So it's like, oh, God, not like this. So there you go. There you go. Here comes the Green Knight. He is going to be very difficult to kill. I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. And right now, you can see the Green Knight's going to be coming in, going after Captain Pegleg here, this Necrophex Colossus. And he does get a little bit of damage. Yeah, Green Knight can be really good in this matchup. If your opponent doesn't have like magic damage or anything, dude, I'm telling you, he is a nightmare. So Green Knight taking quite a bit of fire. My opponent able to juke pretty well, though, so he doesn't take too much damage. But, I'm still happy about that. Any damage I can get on the Green Knight's going to be good. Now, there's a certain school of thought that I want to kind of show some of you guys who may be a newer player. So oftentimes you think when you have Hound units, you need to go like up and around, right? Like push around the flanks and outmaneuver them here. But oftentimes it's way better, especially against factions that like to flank with their cav, to take your Hound units and just kind of chill in the middle of your formation and then go up and through their own ranks to get to their units. So Queen Bessie dropping a fat load right there on those peasant bowmen. Those guys take so much damage, just brutal stuff. And the Green Knight coming in once again, attacking Count Noctilus, but Noctilus is okay to fight this. Plus I'm also holding him in place for the gunnery white as well as some of my handguns, so I was okay taking that trade. Now my Hounds do penetrate through the middle, and now he's going to be chasing with Knights Errant. So even if he commits something to come back here, that's less pressure into my gun line. Now he's chasing like a cheap, shitty cav unit or dog unit with a relatively expensive cav unit, right? Which I'm very, very happy about. So here it comes, Scurvy Dogs chasing down those peasant bowmen, certainly Value City. In the meantime, his trebuchets are killing my bombers, which hurts pretty bad. And Count Noctilus just kind of playing defensive here in the front line while the Colossus is going to be ripping shots into his heavy units. And that was a huge grab right there. The dogs are now just going to be feasting on his whole back line. So these Scurvy Dogs are going to be transferring over to these Peasant Bowmen. Definitely a feel-good situation. Now, my bombers did get shut down. I tried to move up to go after men-at-arms, but I overextended, and some of the Knights Errant did jump on top of my bombers before I could drop the payload. However, it does pull them into a little bit of gunfire, so my handguns are shooting, and I'm getting great crossfire more or less across the board as these Knights Errant get last samurai'd by those handgunners, as well as the Necrofex Colossus fire. So Queen Bessie, though, doing a great job. Whatever the Hounds can't finish in the backfield, Queen Bess is just killing the other units of archers. And that's definitely feels really good. If those peasant archers are able to move in and just shoot my Colossus or shoot any of my handgun units, they will kill them relatively efficiently. Halberds defending the back line against Knights Errant, and the gunfire is still pretty optimal at this point. Despite my bombers taking a ton of damage, they're still able to get a couple of shots off before they go. Now, huge mistake for myself in the front line. I let Count Noctilus get a little bit overextended, and now he's getting a hammering from the Green Knight, dude. I'm trying to pull back at this point. I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what, if I lose Count Noctilus, I'm probably low-key going to lose the game here. So Count Noctilus is trying to run away from Green Knight and the Fey Enchantress, but on that same note, we're also doing devastating damage to his army. Knights Errant here pounded down. He's trying to find a way into Queen Bessie, but he can't. My handgun fire is just doing so much brutal value against his knights, and all three handguns are more or less online at this point. Scurvy Dogs have killed a couple archer units, and now they're going to be diving back here for the Field Trebuchet. Granted, I see him move up his spear, so I decide not to go back there, but the handgun fire has been doing tons and tons of damage as these Knights Errant are broken. Now that he's out of mobility, I feel pretty comfortable, and Count Noctilus, I believe, did die in the front line. I'm not sure. Yeah, he killed Count Noctilus with the Green Knight and the Fey Enchantress, which is a huge, devastating loss for me. However, I still have the Colossus. I still have the Gunnery Wight. I've killed a ton of archers. Pretty much all his cavalry is offline, so at this point, I summon the Spirit Animal of Anticity, the Dark Lord of the Vampire Coast. I get all my handguns, I get my Colossus, I get everything, fire everything! And I turn all my shots to go after the Fey Enchantress. I'm like, alright, you know, he killed my lord, let's give him a little bit of a Vampire Coast 1-2 punch in here. So I get all my characters, and I pretty much just start shooting into the Fey Enchantress. I'm like, you know what, if he sits here, he is 100% gonna die. So the Fey Enchantress is getting blasted super hard. She's sitting in open field, sitting relatively idle after killing my zombies, and now she's just getting blasted super hard. So going for a bit of an aggressive play here while Queen Bessie continues to just nuke these men-at-arms on the advance. And the Fey Enchantress is going to be getting sniped by the Gunnery Wight, who has a great single target shot, and she is in huge trouble as she breaks, potentially shattering here from the battlefield. So the Fey Enchantress is going to be running, and there she goes. Yep, Fey Enchantress is shattered, so now neither of us have a lord. You know, eye for an eye. No, pirates certainly do not take any mercy. In the meantime, my Scurvy Dog's still rampaging, and you guys, I'm sure, are quite excited to see the value. 163 kills. They've been just eviscerating his archers this entire game, which is also good because it's been distracting other elements of his army and forcing them to really pursue. My big concern here, though, is that I won't be able to kill the Gunnery Wight. The Gunnery Wight, not Gunnery Wight, excuse me. The Green Knight might be a bit of a problem. There also is a freaking Grail Relic back here, which doesn't seem to have gotten too much value. Paladin going in for the kill. Granted, my Gunnery Wight is a foot character, so he'll be fine, more or less. He won't die very quickly to just the Paladin. Take a little bit of damage, but he'll be fine. And the handgun's going to be getting crossfire, so just doing the same thing I did to the Fey Enchantress. It's funny, because like most of his army vanished around him, and then suddenly the crossfire from my repainting handgunners has just been doing so much damage. This Paladin is in dire straits, getting nuked. Negative 38, negative 46. That Paladin got Shadow Realms and just picked off, blasted by the Colossus. And now the only thing he really has left of quality is the Green Knight. Looking around, I guess a couple tattered knights are coming back. He still has the Trebuchet in the deep side of the battlefield. And thank you, Dustin and Alexander, for your donations. I'll make sure to read those after the game. Really appreciate those donations, guys. The Gunnery Wight's just going to be trying to stay alive here. I knew I needed this character because the Gunnery Wight is really, really good at single target shooting. So even if the Green Knight is taking massive mitigation with his ghostly nature, being able to get, you know, even 100 weapon strength through his relatively low HP pool is very, very cost effective. So the last of the Bretonnian hordes are getting very damaged on the approach. Queen Bessie is moving forward to finish off those archers, which just shattered in the backfield. I do have some Scurvy Dogs back here. You can see the Scurvy Dogs are able to get on top of the Field Trebuchet, but not before they start to crumble. So I probably won't be able to finish off that Trebuchet, which is unfortunate. But I do pull really, really far ahead on the bounce of power, as he doesn't really have too much pressure coming in. And I have a shit ton of halberds. So Green Knight probably, even in this state, wouldn't be able to beat like 2 or 3 units of halberds, considering they are anti-large. So I think I would be able to take those guys down. So here you can see a charge coming in from the Green Knight. Getting a nice one on the Gunnery Wight. Thankfully he's on foot, so he's not going to be probably as vulnerable as a larger character would be. And yeah, just trying to juke him to the best of my abilities while the Colossus and everyone just kind of blasts into him. Colossus, you know, helping the Gunnery Wight by blasting him with a shot. sends him to relative freedom there in that situation. So now the Green Knight's going to be pushing through the zombie pirate gunnery mobs, but thankfully, like I said, I have a ton of support. Queen Vestal has a shit ton of ammo, nuking all these guys. You can see pretty much every rallying Bretonnian troop is just getting gunned down. So much damage, and the gunnery white is able to escape. Colossus also could put up an okay fight. Obviously, Green Knight, even in this health, probably would beat this Colossus in a vacuum, but the Colossus might be able to get him pretty low, and maybe if RNG was on my side, I would be able to do some decent work. Scurvy dogs in the back still harassing. These are the most value and best of boys of all time. These scurvy doggos, man, have just been doing so much work. And here comes a lot of firepower. The zombie pirate handgun mob shooting into the Green Knight here. Green Knight getting peppered pretty good, like 923. And here comes the Green Knight, charging valiantly. Gilles coming for blood and vengeance. He does get the gunnery white with a little bit of a lancing charge and breaks his leadership for a moment, but not before the handgun fire continues to pepper in, and I still have a ton of ammo. Handguns, you know, even if it's 1 damage at a time, he's only got 700 HP. And the rest of the Bretonnian army is more or less in shambles. You can see here the Grail Relic is done. It looks like he's approaching army losses very, very rapidly. And 700 HP, I mean, every shot counts, man. Down to 682, Colossus missing his shots, but gunnery white's going to be lining up that long rifle. Dude, this captain has inspired me to great feats. Even if he's, you know, not gotten the most kills, he has given extra powder to Queen Bess the entire game, and I think it's really worth it. Anytime you're bringing Bess, I think you got to bring a gunnery white. So 532, halberds are going to be shambling up the hill, and here you can see the Green Knight is going to be moving down. You know what was something really funny? I went and watched the Chinese broadcast before this, and the thumbnail they made for it was so good. They found a picture of me with my mullet and, like, you know, without like the no shirt on, and they actually used that in the thumbnail on their channel. I was like, holy shit, these guys know what's up. Super funny. So game 3 is going to be going to my Vampire Coast, and let's load in. And I have not forgotten. We're going to take a look at that value. But first, Dustin, thank you for the $10 donation. You have influenced my life in such a positive way. Words and money cannot express my appreciation. You truly are an inspiration. Dustin, man, those are some very kind words, man. And more to come, dude. We're going to be going hard in 2021, and we'll keep it rolling, keep the good times coming. Tomorrow, we have the hot dog eating stream. So tomorrow is going to be the dreaded stream of eating hot dogs. So that'll be tomorrow at noon PST. But yeah, it's going to be great. And then Alexander K, thank you for the tenor. He says, hey, Turin, first time that I caught a stream. I've always nice to watch your inspiring content. Keep up the good work. Thank you, man. Thank you. You guys want to see the thumbnail? I actually have it here. Hold on. So, yes. Firstly, though, before I forget, let's look at the dog value. So, these boys, only 1,300 gold value. I mean, they mostly killed like peasant mobs and things like that, but I really thought it was going to be more. But really, killing the peasant archers was just so huge. I mean, they got like 0 value across the board on all of them, which is really probably what won me the game at the end of the day, was the scurvy dogs. Queen Bessie got 1,100 gold value. The Colossus got 1,400. Handguns all did pretty good. Look at that, 1,800, 1,700. Holy shit, those handguns just value city, man. Value city indeed. Bombers got shit on pretty good though. He shut them down well, and Noctilus did okay. Noctilus just, you know, he just survived and dropped some summons, and that was more or less it. All right, so let's see if I have that thumbnail. Hold on. Here, let's pop it up. So this is the thumbnail from the from their equivalent of YouTube of this series. I was laughing so hard when I saw it this morning. Here you go. All right, check it out. Isn't that great? Yeah. It's so funny, like the mullet picture. Oh my god, dude. And that's from this series. Yeah. All right. I thought that was good. So, that is going to be up 2-1 here in this best of 5. Do you have any advice for playing tic-tac-toe and what to do? You know who'd be really great to tell you about tic-tac-toe would be Felkon. My worst factions in the game are Lizardmen, High Elves, and Dark Elves. I am terrible at those factions. So those would be ones I probably couldn't give you. I mean, I could play them in a casual sense, but giving you, you know, any insight. The Trebuchet, let's check it. Trebuchet probably did pretty good. The Treb got only 500 actually, so really not that much. It killed like 1 bomber more or less. Green Knight was the carry. The Green Knight, yeah, 3,300 gold value. That Green Knight paid for himself and more. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then we have the Fey Enchantress here, and we have a Paladin. Yeah, no, isn't that fun? I thought that was really cool. That they like went and got the mullet picture. Oh, so good, so good. All right, so let's load into the next match. So we will do it to it here in just a second. And let's get that next game going, man. It's going to be game 4. series. If I win this game, it's over. But if he wins it, we go to game 5, and it's going to be serious stuff. Jonathan, no, I do not believe so. So it's my Skaven. In this match, I hadn't played my Skaven yet. Skaven is one of my main factions, but unfortunately, I made the mistake of banning the vampire counts in my first match with Empire. So you can't ban the same faction twice in this tournament. So I got stuck facing vampire counts, which is probably a matchup I'm really uncomfortable with. Shetland Apache, no, but I have Gyro Bomber builds coming in the next best of 5. Dude, the Gyro Bomber builds were so awesome, Shetland, and those are coming next. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Alex, those are some really kind words coming from him, man. Damn. Well, that means a lot. Thank you, Legend, for the kind words. All right, so now we're loading into the next game. It's going to be my Skaven against Vampire Count. So I had already banned the Vampire Counts earlier in this series with my Empire game because I don't like playing Empire against Counts. But I kind of forgot it left my Skaven open to this counter pick. A lot of people probably feel like it's an even matchup now, and in some ways it is, but it's one that me personally, I don't feel comfortable playing it. Nonetheless, though, I think I have a pretty dank build here, and you guys are really going to like these. So let's take a look. We got Throth the Unclean, and we also have a Chieftain as well as a Plague Priest. So very much a little bit of a monster mash, because, you know, vampires are going to have black coaches, they're going to have white kings. I wanted to have a goon squad of my own, really, to get good value. Frontline here is going to be Skaven Slaves, backed up by Poison Wing Globes and the Teeth Breakers, Warp Grinders in the back, a couple Slingers, and Pit Fighters plus Rat Ogres. So it's very much a defensive build. Rattling Gunners focusing down with Globadiers, and then we have our little goon squad here to potentially go after things. Morse Guitar's Hellion is also included, so that's pretty much it for my force. And now for my opponent, a very, very solid build. He's got Zombie Nation into the front line. He's got Graveguard. Yeah, a lot of Graveguard. I actually noticed that. Every player I played in this tournament, when they played Vampire Counts, they used a shit ton of Graveguard, whereas I noticed most Westerners, Europeans and Americans, tend to use like zombies and skeletons supported more by like monsters and cavalry. So a little bit of a different meta in that respect is something I noticed. Double Black Coach is going to be super annoying. Double White King on horseback, actually, with Scabs Greats and Heinrich Kemmler as well. Pretty gangster build for my opponent here. Yeah, Molder Monsters are hands down the way to go in this matchup. Yeah, you need them. I'm not a big fan of the Hell Pit. I don't know why. I've been kind of getting away from the Hell Pit, but I did scout over the hill here with Throth the Unclean. Throth's really fast and relatively safe. So from here, it's going to be pulling back and just getting ready to defend with the Teeth Breakers and the Chieftain. The Chieftain's quite nice. He does give the Guardian to Throth, and on top of that, he does also give -5 melee attack to all nearby enemies. So it generally does devolve into a blob fight. And, well, Legion, you say that now, but apparently this guy is one of the Dark Lords of their community, and he's had pretty good success with the Graveguard, so perhaps there is something to it. You know, because, you know, a lot of times Skaven probably are going to be preparing for monsters, but if you bring a very elite infantry corps like Graveguard, you might not have enough to deal with it. I do, of course, have Globadiers and Rat Ogres, both of which are quite good against Graveguard, and the Chieftain plus the Bonebreaker is also quite good. Sir Swagalot, thank you for the 1,000 NOK. Holy shit. The power of the mullet compels thee. Thank you so much for that fat donation, bro. That is super huge. I think it's like $100. Thank you, man. A big bloaty donation. Well, Sir Swagalot, you're really going to enjoy this game. Nice Scabs Grace for my opponent. So he gets one right away. Clan Rats here get nailed, and the other Clan Rats here get nailed as well. So beautiful cast for my opponent. But he doesn't get it for free. He does get nailed pretty good there on the White King. White King going down to about 70%. So I was quite happy about that situation. Yeah, I would say it's worth the health of those Clan Rat. Sir Swagalot, thank you so much. Really, really do appreciate that. So the Chieftain's going to be running out here. I was like, you know what? Or the Morse Guitars. I'm like, let's go beat on some zombies and then just like pull back and kind of force his hand a little bit. Certainly a very scary single entity goon squad he has, but I have one to respond with. I got, you know, the Chieftain. I got the Bonebreaker. I have all sorts of cool stuff. And here on the flanks, he's coming in with his cavalry, and I accidentally poisoned my Rat Ogres, which is very lore friendly. But I figured the magic damage would be very good against those chill guys right there. But for the most part, my opponent pulls back, and I just end up poisoning my Skaven Slave Slingers, which is a very, very Skaven thing to do. And again, Sir Swagalot, one last time, thank you so much for that very generous donation, brother. So Plague Priest is going to be charging in. I gave him an attack order against the zombies. Now, this was a pretty big misplay on my part. I told him to attack the zombies, but my opponent, for some reason, pulled back the zombies. So in doing that, I didn't notice, because, you know, who pulls back zombies in a tactical sense, right? So it overextends my Plague Priest, and my opponent immediately smells the blood in the water. Both Black Coaches going to be going after the Plague Priest. However, I do have supporting fire coming in from the Teeth Breakers, and they're doing a little bit of work against these units. So far in the front line, you know, Clan Rats against zombies, a bit of a wash, but my poor caster here is getting gooned, and definitely a very rough way to start the game. So at this point, I start running the caster back. The Black Coach is very generously escorting him back to my battle lines, and Throt the Unclean plus the Chieftain come in and get a wham-bam 1-2 punch there on the Black Coach, and we get a ton of damage on that Black Coach after just one volley. And my Plague Priest is able to waddle away and is able to also get a summon off, so really not the end of the world. So now here he does have the Chill Geist engaging in the front line. Rat Ogres are trying to hold those guys back, but the Chill Geist do cause terror, of course. My opponent really aggressively trying to goon my caster, and sadly he probably will get the caster, especially since I just hurt myself with an overcast. And he's got his 5 single entities against mine, for sure. And my Plague Priest is actually killed there. However, a really good response. We do get a Warp Grinder Seismic Snare on top of the Chill Geist, so we nuke the Chill Geist with that magic damage. And on top of that, the Globadiers are getting them with poison, so I lose my caster, but he also loses a unit that costs 1,500 gold, more or less. I mean, he loses that plus Graveguard in like one brutal volley, so we're able to get some really, really good value there in that trade. Unfortunately, though, losing our caster really, really does hurt, but I would say we were able to have a nice little response there, which did kind of pull the balance of power back to a decent state. Now here, the battle rages on. The Pit Fighters fighting back against some of the Black Knights here in the flank, and we just have a monstrous pit fight, really. Throt the Unclean has summoned some Rat Ogres to kind of help out in this fight because there are Graveguard buffering on the ground. And with his 5 single entities here versus my 3, I felt a little bit kind of naked, so I was like, alright, let's try and secure the situation. Continue to get Globadier fire onto the Graveguard, which are taking huge damage. Those globes must have really, really gotten some great value so far. But he's probably going to break through. My Rattling Gunners are suffering the classic problem of constantly being obstructed, so what I should have done here is gotten the Rattling Gunners and fallen back. Like move back to this area and just try and create some open space to shoot down any of his units. But the pit fight continues to rage on. Morskatar's Hellion and the Chieftain are getting some okay trades, but he has constant healing, whereas I only have remoldered twice. So these grindy fights, these attrition fights, aren't the best in the world for me. And I would say my opponent is probably getting a little bit of a better trade here. And I do realize this, but I also have a decent mobility and still have a ton of Skaven back here that are rallying. So I'm like, all right, let's pull back with my characters. See if I can force my opponent to make some mistakes, maybe overextend some units that I can potentially pick off. So we will see how that goes. Going after the Graveguard, just trying to pick off those elite troops with my triple AP monsters, and you can see it is working. Those Graveguard are getting pounded. Globadier is a little bit obstructed. Rattling Gunners are now pulling back, just like I talked about, trying to get them in position to prepare for another volley. Nice Scab Scrape from my opponent is able to break those Clan Rats, but the Graveguard are broken at the same point. So Graveguard here just get Shrek'd. It looks like pretty much all the Graveguard, I think with the exception of one unit, might actually be down at this point. So we really did do a good job focusing down his elite units with the Globadiers. Now the Rattling Gunners are able to open up here onto the Black Coach, and the Black Coach is getting hammered by those Rattling Gunners. Brutal damage coming in. Granted, he is shutting down my globes, which sucks. But we're also getting some good trades. White King is low. This White King is pretty healthy. We also did kite away from Krell, and Krell was one of the reasons why I was actually losing that blob fight. It's because he was hammering on my Chieftain with that anti-large AP damage. But here, the last of my brave Skaven slaves are holding. Creature Killer is active, giving them ITP, which is nice, immune to psychology. Those guys are holding pretty strong, and the fight is on, man. The raging fight goes. Chieftain here is just going to be pulling back here, taking a little bit of Rattling Gunner friendly fire. And though the Bounce of Power isn't my favorite, it's not a big deal, because I pretty much started the game with the Bounce of Power just like this for some reason, so I didn't feel like insecure about it. I was like, you know what, I still have my mobility, I have my characters, I have a shit ton of crappy Skaven units that can buy time for my single entities. Let's just go finish off the Graveguard. So here comes my Pound Town squad, Morskatar's Hellion and the Chieftain, able to drop some serious shots onto the Graveguard, which are now crumbling. And from here, we're just going to be pulling back and trying to defend the Rattling Gunners, which hopefully we'll be able to get some shots with the Concealment Bombs actually active. And a nice isolation here. You can see the White King plus Heinrich Kemmler are finally separated from the pack. Rattling Gunners nailing into that White King. Somehow they weren't obstructed there, but a really, really nice zombie summon from my opponent. Able to drop that on top of my poor Teeth Breakers, and those guys are going to be getting punished pretty good by the zombie summon. So here comes the Black Coaches, as well as the remnants of the armies, the zombies, and the other units here. And it looks like one of my units is in dire straits. It looks to be one of my Rat Ogres, which honestly isn't a huge deal. Trying to goon back where I can, going after the Vampire Count characters. And here you can see the Undeath Resurgent is active, giving a melee defense buff to his entire army. 72 melee defense, really, really nice on those White Kings. Certainly going to be tough for my Ogres to get through. But in that whole kind of, you know, foray and fighting over here, my Rattling Gunners are able to use the Concealment Bombs and actually sneak away here. Yeah, for sure, Vicious Satsuma. It hurt really bad. Losing my caster early was extremely tough, but this game is certainly far from over. So the Chieftains here are fighting pretty hard, and also the Morskatar's Hellion is in decent shape. Rattling Gunners are pouring in, and you know, every ounce of damage from these miniguns here certainly counts, and Krell does disappear in the background. They're not really able to catch anything, but his blob really was developing here, so I was like, all right, let's get out of here. He's got a mean blob. I need to take advantage of my Skaven speed and the fact that I still have weapons teams online, and the Globadiers are moving over and should be able to drop some serious firepower here in this situation. So Poison Wind Globes, here they come, going for the kill. And here comes Throt the Unclean, moving over after the White King. Morskatar's Hellion getting a Space Jam slam on that guy, dude. And this White King is in some big, big trouble. And there goes the summon, remoldered, activated on the Morskatars Hellion. Globadiers do get one volley off before they go, and I'm trying to kite back right now with my Teethbreakers, just running away from the zombies. Yeah, even though Krell was in the background, he probably wouldn't have been able to catch me. I would have just kited Krell, so if Krell had started chasing me, I would have just ran. I have the speed advantage, and I have the range, and there was no way he could have gotten that fight, so that's really kind of a moot point. Alexander, and another one this time for the almighty Wookiee. Thank you so much for the donation, man. Really do appreciate that. And hopefully you're enjoying this seriously close series I'm having with this masterful player here. So here comes Throt the Unclean, getting a nice shot. We're able to isolate the Morskatars, or the White King, getting a couple great blows on that guy. He's now at his healing cap. My opponent really has gotten great value. The Globes, able to bombard the Grave Guard here, which felt really, really good. They still have a fair amount of health, so every one of those volleys is just getting me massive value. And the Chieftain's going to be falling back right now. And the Vampires are running a little bit bare bones on the ground here, although in the distance they did chase off some units with Black Knights, and I didn't see them. So that was something that I was like, oh, you know, this is all he has left. I'm in great shape. But with the Black Knights now coming back after having chased off my Pit Fighters, it could be a little bit scary. So here the White King is getting very low, and the Rats are going to last samurai him. The White King does get taken out by the Rattling Gunners, and here the Graveguard are crumbling down. Teethbreakers, now that my opponent's the Eye of Sauron here has found my Teethbreakers, he is most certainly going to be able to hunt those guys down. And now you can see the Morskatars Hellion getting a huge amount of damage here on Heinrich Kemmler, while the Teethbreaker Rattling Gunners are going to be pulling away from these units. But yeah, I figure if I can goon his Lord, the thing is if Heinrich Kemmler dies and the other White King dies, you know, black coaches aren't going to trade well versus my single entity monsters. So that was kind of my dream. Living on a prayer, in the words of the Bon Jovi. So Throt the Unclean going to be making his way through. He's very fast. He's the big rat who makes all the rules, and he's going to be moving after Heinrich Kemmler here, getting a nice shot. Heinrich at 2200. He's getting a little bit low, but really nice play from my opponent. The Cloak of Mist and Shadows gives him 75% ward save against physical, and obviously all my damage with the exception of the Morskatars is physical, so it's only going to be taking full damage from the Hellion, which he does. And Heinrich Kemmler there probably would have honestly died without the Cloak. I think the Throt attacks would have probably finished him off, but we are able to get some huge damage onto Heinrich Kemmler. So now the black coaches taking the Morskatars Hellion on a bit of an escort, pushing him back. Morskatars Hellion fighting in the trees against the black coaches. And Heinrich Kemmler basically running in circles right here. And here comes Throt the Unclean. If I'm able to get Heinrich Kemmler and shut down their caster here, I think I could be in relatively good shape. But the Black Knights, much like the Rohirrim here, are going to be coming around doing some nice pressure. He gets an invocation on them, knowing Heinrich's at his healing cap. And I didn't want to get surrounded by Black Knights. So I'm trying to pull back at this point and unify my monsters, trying to get the Chieftain and the Morskatars Hellion out. I do have a couple slingers still fighting in the tree line. But for the most part, I guess I couldn't really get away. So I'm like, all right, let's make one last stand here in the trees and see if we can get this back. And honestly, it's a really, really close game. Nice black coach play from my opponent. He also has more zombies coming over here. And the problem is, even though I got some really powerful units left, leadership is a big problem. When you're fully surrounded with Skaven Molder monsters, the base leadership of the Brood Horrors and Throt is only 60. Morskatars is like in that ballpark. And I think the Chieftain, yeah, his base is like, you know, not super high either. So there's a pretty big leadership issue for myself here. Despite the fact that if both armies were unbreakable, if my Skaven were undead, I think I could win this fight with just pure grinding. But leadership is going to be a bit of a problem here. So we'll see what we can do. Creature Killer is active, giving ITP as well as anti-large. Now we're just, you know, fighting the good grind. Morskatars Hellion here, definitely a saving grace, because he's going to be doing a ton of AoE damage with his Warp Pulse. And yeah, just trying to fight the black coaches, but the Black Knights and the zombies getting a good surround. And the Chieftain getting terrified was a huge problem, because now he's out, and my opponent can isolate him. He got kind of separated from the pack, or he can potentially just continue to go after my other characters here. Morskatars Hellion still fighting the good fight. Throt the Unclean fighting as well, but leadership is getting very, very fickle here for the Skaven. And also we do have Heinrich Kemmler just cackling in the background, and of course his laughter probably is, you know, really grating to the Skaven, and my opponent is going to be winning that game. Very well played to him. A huge mistake. I think it was close enough that if I'd had my caster, I think I could have pulled it out. But losing my caster early was a huge misplay. But, you know, things happen. You know, I'm only human here, so the dreaded misplay is going to happen every now and then. And, yeah, Plague Priest died. Chieftain did good, 1,200. 3,000 on Throt, dude. He is so goddamn good. Teethbreakers got 2,100 gold value, which is really awesome. Globadiers got 28. Like, the army worked. It was pretty... The synergies worked well. We just needed to keep our caster. We needed more summons, more buffering. Yeah, maybe even like switching the Plague Priest to like a furnace of some sort could be good, because apparently Bonebreaker mounts don't count as SEMs in the banner rule, so you can like use them in conjunction with your other single entities. They don't count as rare SEMs, is what I'm saying. So 2-2, guys. We're going to Game 5 in this glorious series. Sudden death, baby! The mullet is on the line. Let's do it. for him, Heinrich Kemmler, 500, White Kings, 800, Black Knights. The Graveguard didn't do so hot, but I mean, they were a lot to chew through. The Black Coaches carried him, though. 2,200 for sure. And, yeah, 23 here. I agree. I think a Furnace would have been super good this game. Like, maybe cut... I don't know, the Globes did so good, though. 29,000 damage. Holy shit. Teethbreakers did 10,000. Pit Fighters did okay, and the Ogres did decently. But, yeah, it was a good game. It was really close. Thank you, Lucas. No, just putting in time, really. Yeah. Him pulling back the zombies won him the game. He did. That was. I don't know if that was intentional. Like, he saw me target it. Like, that's some next level big brain plays if he did. Like, I gave an attack order to my Plague Priest to go beat on some zombies, and then he pulled it back. I overchased, and then he isolated me. I don't know if that was intentional, but if it was, holy shit, man. That's some stuff. All right, we continue on in game 5. Let's load into this bad boy. Yeah, I know, man. It's happening. So this one, dude, it's like every game in this series is like good and contested. This one is probably the best game in this, like maybe even I played in the entire tournament. And my opponent. It's just like insanely close. You guys will obviously find out the outcome here in a minute, but holy shit. Like, it is so close. This game is just insane. Insane. So it's going to be my Tomb Kings against his Skaven. Yeah, and that's certainly scary. I've been trying to find counterpicks to Skaven. He banned Wood Elves here, or actually, no, I already played Wood Elves in this series. So I wasn't able to play my counterpick to Skaven, nor could I play Empire, which is my other pick. And I was kind of here on the Tomb Kings, which I hadn't played in quite some time. So let us load into this battle, guys, and have some fun. 2-2, this is it. It's for the marbles, baby. And for my build, it's going to be double Skeleton Horseman Archer, just to harass and chase backfield units and do things like this. We do also have one unit of Carrion up in the sky. And for my heroes here, I have an Iro Titan, I have a Bone Giant, Casket of Souls, as well as a Catapult. So Skaven can rush you here, but they also oftentimes try and outrange you. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let that happen today. I got the Bone Giant, I have a Casket, I have a Catapult, I got harass units. I'm going to force him to come to me because I do not feel like advancing into Skaven weapons teams and things like that. So the factions game 1, I was Wood Elves against his Greenskins. He won game 1 in the series. Yeah. No, I'm saying this is like probably the best game to watch in the tournament. Like, it's so good and close. So good and tasty. Anyways, here, Skeleton Warriors, we got the Bone Giant. We do also have the Screaming Meme Catapult here. Look at the rest of his army. Yeah, he's got like Throt the Unclean, I think, over here. Yeah, it's going to be Foot Throt. Very scary stuff for sure, but my front line is going to be Skeleton Warriors, Spears, Catapult, couple Nehekar Horsemen in the back, Arc in the Black on horseback. And yeah, that's pretty much the army, guys. The Bone Giant to sniper artillery, the Titan to fight the Molder monsters. Titan is really good against Molder monsters. Shem's Burning Gaze does fire damage. He does fire damage. It's really good against the regenerating monsters. So for my opponent's army, he's got double Skaven Slave Slingers. He's got the Avalanche Mortars. He's got Ikit Zap Cannon, double Brood Horror, just actually basic Brood Horrors. And looks like here he does have Throt the Unclean, a Plague Furnace, Council Guard in the back, and a couple Clan Rat Spears. A very nasty army. The double Brood Horror can really punish your constructs. Like, if I get out of position for even a second, and he's able to goon me in open field with his double Brood Horror, holy shit, man, it can be really bad. Skaven always have a lot of stuff. So, thankfully, this map, Blue Reach River, has this, like, weird alcove here, so I'm able to kind of, like, hide behind the trees with my casket and shoot his Ikit's Zap Cannon. So we're going to be trying to go downtown, and Sir Swagalot, I'm glad you approve of the build. It's certainly been pretty decent here in the tournament. So shooting into the Ikit Zap Cannon, it's going to be pulling back right now, and now his Avalanche Mortars are going to be coming up. So he's pulling back with his whole army, and then moving up and attacking with his Avalanche Mortars. He's trying to pull me into range of it, and it will work to an extent. I do kind of make the mistake of advancing up, trying to get in range of his Ikit Zap Cannon, but I have a couple good options here against the Avalanche Mortars. I, of course, have Overcasted Spirit Leech with Arc in the Black, and now my Skeleton Horsemen and Nehekar Horsemen are going to be going around. Now, I do something here that's a little bit gamey. What I like to do, get some carrion, fly them around the side, but I flew them through the trees and just kind of left them over here for a minute, hoping my opponent would just forget about them. So just take a mental note of that, guys, as we progress here in this battle, because I certainly would have forgotten about those things. So now my Catapult plus the Casket and the Boner Giant is going to be rotating around. The Bone Giant, I think, sitting over here and trying to stay out of range, is going to be getting in range to shoot his Avalanche Mortars. He also has Brood Horrors coming in, trying to go and maybe isolate some of my forward threats here. You can see the Nehekar Horsemen probably going to have to pull back. Brood Horrors are just so incredibly quick, but we have a lot of firepower. Casket plus Catapult plus Overcasted Spirit Leech to snipe him from downtown. The Avalanche Mortars are actually taking quite a bit of damage, but I do lose a couple Nehakara horsemen for the cost here, and you can see those guys are going to be forced to pull back. But Shem's Burning Gaze coming from the Titan here. Here it comes. Release the Titan. Great value there on that Shem's Burning Gaze, and that's a free spell coming in from the Titan. And we also do respond with, I believe, a Spirit Leech or something. Yeah, the Spirit Leech from the Titan is going to get dropped here on the Brood Horde. So very happy to get that much damage. On top of that, the Avalanche Mortars do get crumped. But the best thing about the game, guys, is the fact that the Carrion were able to emerge from their hiding spot and now have shut down the Ikit's Zap Zap Cannon. So the Ikit Zap Zap Cannon is completely done for. He has no mobility nearby to punish. There's no Wolf Rats, no Ogres. He's going to be losing an extremely expensive artillery piece to just some Haggard Carrion. On top of that, the Screaming Skull Catapults are going to be going after the Avalanche Mortars. Big damage coming in, and there is also a leadership debuff on those catapults. So if we can shatter these guys or even chase them back, I'll be very happy. And, you know, the fact that they're broken and running, I can now get my Skeleton Horseman Archers and pull around and potentially chase them off the battlefield now that they're so far back. A couple Skaven Slaves trying to peel off the Carrion, but the Carrion are no way going to let that happen. So Frontline Fighting will be underway here soon. My Catapult, a little bit overextended, but I do have him kind of corralled and a nice little choke point here against the River. I know, extreme Carrion value. The Carrion shatter it. One Horseman goes to chase down the Avalanche Mortars, the other one pulls back. So far, everything is looking pretty good. However, Skaven are really strong, and even if you get a couple nice plays like this against them early, the game can still turn back on you, especially with their Goon Squad here and these Brood Hordes and things like that. Arc in the Black, fighting on horseback here. A couple Nehakara horsemen going to be charging in to try and finish off these units, and the Titan is moving up to just start stopping some Clan Rats, while the Catapult continues to drop big fire into the Council Guard, which are advancing. So Council Guard will be taking some blows from the Catapult, whereas the Boner Giant is going to be just ripping pot shots into the Brood Hordes the entire game. So you guys see the Bone Giant back here. He's going to be sitting. He's got his Giant Shaft, and unfortunately got a little bit obstructed there for a moment, but yeah, 100% just shoot at the Brood Hordes the entire time. Here comes a big shot. Kind of misses. Also friendly fires a couple units, but it wouldn't be a Bone Giant without some Haggard friendly fire and, you know, missed shots and things like that. So in the backfield, his Avalanche Mortars are gone, as well as his Ikit Zap Zap Cannon. Bounce Power is still not bad for him. Now that he's advancing and really pressing into my lines, things are getting a little bit stressful. Council Guard fighting Skeleton Warrior should be okay for him. But Arc in the Black sitting in the back, cackling quite well as the Casket of Souls drops some fat payloads into the Council Guard there. Some huge, huge damage coming down. And here, a nice little Rat Ogre summon. I'm not sure what he's going to do with it. Oh, yeah, the Titan's getting trapped. See, this is the thing. Like, Titan's not very maneuverable, but the Bone Giant with a huge hit right there on the Brood Horde. My opponent responds here with Remoldered, giving leadership, which is probably the only reason that thing didn't break. But the Titan is just trying here, but now it's a little bit isolated. I do have some Nehakara Horsemen, a couple Skeleton Spears left, but my opponent does have the potential to cycle charge and really hurt my Titan. But the Bone Giant is certainly sending a message to these units, trying to keep them at bay, while the Council Guard and the Plague Furnace continue to advance up. Here we have a little bit of a skirmishing core. Nehakara Horsemen going to be slamming into the back of the Skaven Slaves. This whole flank, more or less, has been kind of cleaned up there, so I don't think there's going to be too much pressure coming in. Clan Rat summon on top of the casket is a temporary distraction, but it's not really going to do too much to, you know, shut it down for the long term. But man, that Bone Giant, dude, despite the healing on Brood Hordes, so Brood Hordes do naturally heal. The Bone Giant has done so much damage to them. Like, they're going to be approaching their healing cap so much faster than they normally would. And the Titan's holding well. Libra Mortis is active. I also dropped a new Ushapti summon here because I didn't want my Titan to just get gooned by like a million Skaven units here. So the Ushapti summon is something I'm more than happy to sacrifice in order to get the Titan away and perhaps get it into my backlines once again. Bone Giant's still in great shape, still shooting. Obviously, the Skaven don't really have any pressure or Warp Lightning to kind of shoot these guys down. And the Bone Giant is able to just karate. Oh, the Mike Tyson punch, man. The Bone Giant has like one of the best right hooks in the game. Yeah, it's his right hook. He hits. It's pretty hard with that big old fist there. Now the Titan's going to be moving back, going after the Plague Priest, hopefully able to get a couple blows on that guy while my skeletons and other units are slowly eviscerated there. Ushapti summon doing the work of the gods, holding back most of my opponent's elite, expensive, you know, probably like 80% of his remaining army in terms of overall value. And the Bone Giant, I don't know what it was shooting. I think it was trying to hit that Plague Priest there, but they obviously got some accuracy nerfs, so they don't hit quite as hard as they used to. And Carrion are also being used to just kind of keep and sweep. So we have the Skeleton Horseman Archers and the Carrion just chasing down as many Skaven Slaves and rallying units as you can, which is really important against Skaven, because if their monsters get buffering, like Skaven Slaves or Clan Rats, they're so much harder to kill. But Skaven have bad leadership. Much like last game you saw, my monsters they lost when they got surrounded, but while I still had Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats, I was trading well and things were honestly going pretty good. Another Bone Giant Shaft right there on that Brood Horde. He's certainly having some problems. 5 leadership, Casket of Souls still shooting as well into the advancing Clan Rat Spears and getting a little bit of value in there. But yeah, now he's getting a little bit danger close to my back line. And the Bounce of Power I was like, during this game, I was like, why is the balance of power not more in my favor? I killed his freaking Warp Lightning Cannon. I killed his Avalanche Mortars. Like, I feel like everything's going well, but... And there was like this slow creeping feeling that my opponent was like getting back in the game, and somehow he was getting these value trades and wearing down all my infantry, and I was like, oh god, if there's like double Broodhorde with like foot Throt, and I don't have any infantry left, like this could actually be really, really bad. I was starting to get a little bit nervous. So Liber Mortis is going down once again, giving huge physical resist here, and you can see the Titan is doing solid damage. The Titan is a really powerful tool against these monsters. Its fire damage and just its massive HP pool make it very, very tough to snipe. In the backfield, Clanrat Spears advancing on my artillery position. The Casket of Souls still pretty good on ammo, but there's not too many great targets. Spirit Leech going down to the Broodhorde. Should be able to potentially break that guy. He's at 23 leadership, but my Titan is really getting isolated, having problems. But Arc in the Black with the fat MLG summon, baby. Bone Giant Shaft as well, nailing that Broodhorde. Probably going to break him, and then Arc in the Black coming in with the charge as well. We do finally break one of those Skaven monstrosities. In the backfield, those Skeleton Horseman Archers, man, just proving to be huge MVPs. Cycle charging, you know, Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves and making sure they don't advance to my Bone Giant. And there you see that Broodhorde does get pounded by that Bone Giant Shaft. And the reason why I kept shooting at him was to try and make sure he shattered, because that thing still could heal up to a fair amount of HP, but we've broken it like 3 times this game. So we are able to shatter that Broodhorde, which is a huge, huge win. Now Arc in the Black being a little bit careful. A couple Skeleton Spears still going, but a big problem for me actually is that Plague Furnace is still going. So like the Mortis Engine effect from that Plague Furnace has just been disgusting, man. It's been doing so much work. We also bring Arc in the Black back here. I believe we were going to charge up his staff on some of those Skaven Slaves, but I think I saw the Broodhorde and I was like, oh, maybe I got to go after that. A little bit hard to say, but basically, yeah, each shot from the Bone Giant hurts the Tomb King's balance of power. It does a little bit, right? Yeah, because it really carries quite a bit of weight. But the Bone Giant has been doing great this game. Here comes the Mike Tyson right on top of the Skaven Slaves. But the Skaven are rapidly eviscerating my front line. Skeleton Warriors as well as my natural Skeleton Spears are breaking, man. The draining from the Mortis Engine. The Broodhorde is still in good shape, and Throt is also a big problem. Foot Throt is an anti-large armor-piercing character, so he's really, really good against big constructs on foot, and he's in perfect health. So, I mean, the Creature Killer certainly lives up to his name, as my Titan is losing to Throt here. 7 leadership, 5 leadership. Trying to stomp that rat. We do get a nice little attack there. Thankfully, Throt, when he's not on a mount, doesn't heal, and he cannot remolder himself because he is not a molder monster, which is kind of interesting. I don't think he counts as one. Yeah, he doesn't have the tooltip, but nonetheless, is he regenerating? Oh, was I wrong about Throt? Hold on. Does Throt regenerate even on foot? No way. Oh my god, I was totally wrong. Okay, well, I take that back. Throt heals on foot? Oh shit, I didn't know that. Okay, well, I was wrong about that, but thankfully we caught it and corrected it. You know, it's a new DLC and everything. Still learning all the ropes here, but anyways, Iroh Titan, and I always use him on his Broodhorde anyways. But yeah, the Titan's going down, guys. This is really, really a bad situation for me. And now you can see my opponent pulling back ahead in the balance of power, guys. And it was starting to feel pretty grim bones. Here comes another shaft. It nails the Broodhorde. Spirit Leech going down as well. I really need to finish these guys off. Because with just Foot Throt, at least I can maneuver. And I have a Bone Giant, which is kind of like a Walmart Giant itself. So I could potentially finish it off here. Spirit Leech, trying my best to get rid of his Broodhordes. But man, oh man, that thing won't break. -1. Oh, and the Bone Giant with the Giant Shaft once again. Right into the face of that Broodhorde. It's at -47 leadership. I have some Skeleton Horseman Archers to chase it. This is a very, very important play. So we're going to be hunting him down. And if he comes back, that's a bit of a problem. All I have left, guys, are just, you know, a Bone Giant that's out of ammo, a very ragged Titan, and he's got a Plague Furnace with God knows how many summons, and also has Throt the Unclean. So I was very, very stressed at this point. I was like, oh my god, end this game, dude! Just put him out of his misery! Yeah, it makes sense that Throt regenerates from a lore perspective, for sure. I just, for some reason, didn't think he did. So Spirit Leech going down here on Throt. Probably should have tried to finish off that Broodhorde with the Spirit Leech. Granted, you know, Throt, you know, was the more imminent threat here. So a couple Skeleton Spearmen going to be moving in. I don't have the maneuverability to get there and, you know, fight my opponent. So he just kind of moves over there to go after, you know, the Skeletons, which is fine. And now we are able to get some Skeleton Horseman Archers to go chase down the Broodhordes, while any Skaven troops that are continuing to rally here are just being focused down with the last of the ammunition from the Titan. So, Bone Giant's ready, man. He's good to go. It's time. It is time. So the Bone Giant's going to be coming in. He's going to be fighting Throt the Unclean. The big right hook coming down to that rat's face, but not quite able to get damage. In the meantime, my Titan's going to be moving around and starting to attack Throt as well. So we have the 2 big Giants on Throt, but the healing plus the AP and the anti-large, backed up with summons from the Plague Furnace, could be a huge problem here, guys. Yeah, the Broodhorde is getting chased down, which is really nice. If that thing came back, I think I could just straight up like lose right now. Like if that thing came in and rear charged like the Titan and maybe like gooned Arkin, like I would be in big trouble, dude. But the fact that we have the Skeleton Horsemen chasing those guys down is super important. So the Brood Horde is getting hunted once again. It does come back, but as soon as it gets charged, it's exhausted, it's damaged, it's going to break again. So the Brood Horde up there should be broken on the high ground. Now the pit fight rages on. My Titan is very, very low. Throt the Unclean is getting some great anti-large attacks, and you can see there comes one right there. Does about 300 damage. So I try to get a little bit fancy here. I cycle charge with Arkin, and the Titan's going to be pulling back. I try and like walk the Titan around and like make Throt attack the Bone Giant instead, which still has 6,000 HP. My Skeleton Horseman chasing that bad boy down right there. But this is just like a royal rumble of a fight. Just like rats and characters flying in every direction. And yeah, there's going to be summons coming down here in a second as well. So Throt the Unclean is getting sucker punched by the big Titan. Let's get the cinematic shots here. Oh my god, just like look at this freaking circus of action coming down. It's just absolutely insane. But suddenly, clan rats from the earth are going to be giving huge buffering for his characters, which I have to say was very, very stressful here. My Titan is also crumbling. He's just swinging his giant bell, clubbing as many clan rats as he can, but, you know, 10 HP per second, there's no way I'm going to be able to get back. But look at the laser eyes, man, so good. But the Titan's going to be going down, negative 40, and, yeah, he's done. But then Arkin the Black comes back and says, I too can summon annoying units. And we drop our skeleton summon. It came off cooldown. Just such a close game. The Titan is going to be falling into the horde of summons. Down he goes as Throt the Unclean takes him out. And now it's up to the Bone Giant in Arkin the Black. Oh my god, this game was so stressful, but we break Throt. Holy shit, that felt good. When I was playing this game, I was like, yes, yes! And Throt the Unclean, because, you know, it's a best of 5. It's such a long investment of time, and like, and then Throt the Unclean gets terror routed. He's at 10 leadership, but then he stabilizes. I was like, oh no, not like this. But I kind of know that my summons are going to last a little bit longer than his. So I'm going to have that surround on him, whereas his clan rats are going to disappear. And then you can see with that happening, Throt starts to waver, but not before he does like 2,000 more damage to my freaking Bone Giant. Throt has just been getting such good value this game. And now we do have Arkin the Black, who's going to pull back and cycle charge, and Throt the Unclean should be going down. We also have a couple Skeleton Horsemen coming back from chasing off that Brood Horde, so that could be helpful, and just throwing more bodies in there. But like, look at how much damage Throt is doing to this Bone Giant. It is just ludicrous, and I just can't hit him. Finally, we hit that stupid rat, and yeah, you can see there, the Plague Priest is going to be the last bastion for the Skaven, and we pull ahead on the Bounce of Power. There you have it. And the Plague Priest here are going to be getting swarmed by the Bone Giant. Mike Tyson himself earning 2 chevrons. And we finally pull ahead in the Bounce of Power. The melee casket, of course, a key to victory. And if we are able to defeat the Plague Priest, which we most likely should, that is going to be the series. That is GG. We win it 3-2. Holy shit, that series was stressful, man. It was so good. Let's go ahead and rack that up. And let's look at the value on these units. Now, the Bone Giant, hands down an MVP, I bet. Look at this. So the Bone Giant, 2,500 value, and he costs, what, like 1,500 or something? That was pretty solid. Bone Giant did really, really good for us here. And the Titan did okay. It was getting swarmed a lot, but considering it was getting swarmed, it got some good value with 1,200 right there. Arkin the Black, 2,000 value. Neck Horseman did okay. Casket of Souls, a 1,400, and the Catapult did 750. Pretty good. I mean, yeah, Skeleton Horseman Archers that chase it down also did really good. 1,000 value on those guys. Really, really solid against Molder units. That was an insanely good series, man. He played really well. Like, every one of those games was just, like, stressful and back and forth and super intense. Yeah, Mabel's like, that got stressful even for me. Dude, I thought I was going to lose that game. 100%. Yeah, 100%. The bald eagle screams in the distance. Yeah, I know. It's so good. The furnace. Yeah, we'll take a look at the furnace for sure. Yeah. Let's see what it looks like here. I'm just going to press that button every now and then. Yeah, 1,300 here. 2,000 here. And obviously the Brood Hordes were insane, probably. Not that much, actually. We kind of shut them down. You know, like, what was crazy about this whole tournament overall? Not tournament, but this match, was I out-traded him so hard early in that game. I killed his mortars, I killed his Ikit Zap cannon, and the game still ended up being so close. Like, I thought after shutting those elements down, like, I would 100% take the game quickly. Yeah, but then, like, you know, he still almost got that game back, which was crazy. The Carrion got 570 value. Yeah, because they only killed, like, the crew, like half the crew, I think. Yeah. Nothing too crazy, interestingly enough. Yeah. So, yeah, well, we're doing it to it. There you go. All right, very good. Yeah, I guess Thomas Green, I don't know, man. I don't know. The carrying value, yeah, you guys saw it. Not too much, only like 500. Skaven are really strong, yeah. They're very scary. I think Skaven's one of my main factions, and I feel comfortable in like every matchup with Skaven, except maybe like vampire counts. But even then, you have a chance. Yeah. You want to see the carrion? I showed you guys. Yeah, carrion only 570 value actually. Skeleton horsemen archers that chased down the brood horror as well as the mortar teams were the ones that really did well. 1,000 gold on them, and pretty good stuff. Now car horsemen were just kind of a screening tool. The boner value, 2,500. Yeah, 2,500 on this. Yeah, it's pretty good. Bone giant was huge. He nuked those brood horrors. Without the bone giant, I think I might have lost. Like if I had gone for a different build, the bone giant really wrecked those brood horrors, just sitting there that entire time and just getting great value. Yeah. All right. And there you have it. Let's move on to the next game. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Android Poetry. I gave you some mod status so you can help with that. Looks like we're being trolled. It's the way of things, man. Double Bone Giant, so I actually switched my build up a little bit here. So let me show you guys a couple things. So we have another best of 5. This isn't going to be the only one. But let's go ahead and move on over here and show you. Yeah, the Bone Giant was really good. I'm trying to think my Tomb King's build, so we can switch back here real quick. After this, I'll show. We have another best of 5 that was equally as good as that one. So we'll be switching on over that. There's 4 in total. I'll be showing 2 today. And then on the next stream, we'll be doing another 2. All right, so hold on. Yeah, so for looking at my builds, Tomb Kings versus Skaven. Yeah, I think this is the one I had settled on. So I made this. So we have Ark and the Black on horseback with just Spirit Leech. I still have a Casket, a Catapult, and double Bone Giant. So the double Bone Giant should really shut down Molder monsters, and if Skaven want to outrange you, I don't think they'll be able to. Not with the Casket and the Catapult. And then I changed up the build a little bit to get a single Tomb Scorpion to help me kill like Throt on foot, or like Skaven foot characters like Assassins, things like that, and Plague Priests. Cutting the Titan. The Titan was good, but I'm like, just muck them down in spears, right? Like, and then from there, the Bone Giants can just go in guard mode and get some like really good shots. Yeah, the next series you guys are about to see has some epic Gyro Bomber play. Yeah, some epic Gyro Bomber play. So yeah, we're going to load into our next match right now, so let me go ahead and get it all set up here. And if you guys are wondering about the tournament, these are more or less the basic details. It's being hosted by Wargaming Institute, and I know there's a spelling error in the Wargames Institute, but that's the graphic they sent me, so I just used what they sent me. So Felkon didn't have the time to play in the tournament, so I believe he had someone replace him, but it's myself, I believe, who was it playing? I don't know who replaced him. Fisstech and Soothsayer. So we have 4 Westerners facing off against, more or less, Europeans and Americans, facing off against 4 of their top players. So it's like a Swiss league, so you have to play all 4 of them, and then you do it from there. It's pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and get the next series set up. Thanks again for joining, guys. It's been a really fun stream. Yeah. And yeah, man, these guys are, their meta is so different too. So different. Right, so let's go ahead and do this. I feel like some of those games should be casted separately, but like, they're already here, right? So yeah, okay, this has one of the Gyro Bomber games. Okay, so let's get these scorecards updated. And this is all right. And looks good. And all right, Tihan Noin, I gave you some moddage as well. If you see anything, feel free to karate chop. And cool. So I think the next series is prepared. I got the replays here, just making sure I have the appropriate ones. So this first one is my Sons of Sigmar against his greenskins. So I noticed that in this tournament, a lot of their first picks were greenskins, and man, oh man, their greenskin play was very scary. Dude, I have so many games to cast from this tournament. It's crazy. Yeah. You know, honestly, my arm is like more or less as good as my hand is more or less as good as anyone's for like probably like 6 to 8 games. And considering this tournament was played offline, I could like play at my own leisure and when my hand was fresh. So I really wasn't suffering any penalties or anything during this tournament, which was great. Yeah, big props to the Wargaming Institute and Han Clan and all the guys for getting this together. I had a blast, and they're such fun players to play with, and you know, experiencing their builds and everything it was really cool. All right, cool. Looks good. All right, guys. So here it is. It's time. We have the glorious Sons of Sigmar once again. So this is me against Heisey. So this is one of the games I played in the series, but it has the Gyro Bomber build, so I figured we'd do this series. Now, like I said, there's going to be 2 more series, which I'll either be doing tomorrow or the next day. So you guys will get to see those bad boys in action. Yeah, Vicious Hot Simulator. It's good. Like, if I'm, like, the first 5 to 8 games I play in a day, I can play, like, as good as ever. But beyond that, I need to take a break. All right, so this is my Empire build against Greenskins, one of them. Sigmar Sons Flagellants in the front. We do have Volkmar the Grim, a Light Wizard for Nets of Ammonchok, backed up by triple Handgunner, which is kind of an old school style of play. A lot of Empire players really like to use Pistoliers and Outriders and, you know, in favor of the mobility. But I'm a good old fashioned Sigmarite, man. I love my powder units braced on the ground, ready to go and just blasting, man. It's so much fun. Alexander! And to the last sacrifice of the Horned Rat for this crazy fight, kill, yes, we know who will win when the Vermintide comes. I know. Usually the Skaven do win. Thank you so much, Alexander, for the huge donation. Really do appreciate that. Really do appreciate it. Alexander, you've had multiple today. Thank you so much, man. So, double Knights of the Blazing Sun to the back. The fire damage is quite good against Stone Trolls, and on top of that, they just have great shock damage against Greenskin Chaff, and also have magic resist against Hags and Spirit Leeches and effects like that. So 2 Empire Knights, 2 Knights of the Blazing Sun, triple Handgunner with Nets, and that's pretty much it, guys. So for my opponent's army, pretty cool stuff. He's got Morgub's Magi Marauders, Forest Goblin Spider Riders, Orc Biggins with Goblins kind of saturated across the front line. A very wide army, actually. He's got some Orc Boar Boys, I think 4 in total. Standard Orc Boar Boys, which actually were meta against the Empire for quite some time. I think that's quite a cool pick. Because for the cost, Orc Boar Boys trade very well with basic Empire Knights because of their AP and the armor buffs they got. The Dova Dog, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. Palpatine's cackle will welcome you to the glorious Dukes. All right, so Volkmar the Grim's going to be rolling in now, going after the Orc Biggins and looking to get a little bit of free shock charge here in the front line. So Volkmar should be quite good here. Knights of the Blazing Sun getting afflicted by Spirit Leech, but here they come. Lance is couched, baby. Going to be running into those Orc Boys, so this should be a ton of damage here as the Orc Boys get hunted by those brave Empire Knights. Then from there we pull back, Orc Boys getting hammered pretty good, and this is exactly what you want with Volkmar. I run into an expensive infantry unit, and from there we basically just drop a big AoE summon. So here it comes. Fat bombardment, Soulfire being rained down here, guys. And you can see the Orc Biggins just take a ton of damage. But now the rest of the Greenskin army approaches, and you know, it's all fun in games in the beginning when you have the mobility advantage and stuff, but now when the Greenskins start to collapse on you is when it gets really scary. So Grom the Paunch comes over here, and I do grab a net of Ammonchok on him, so talk about a blue ball. He's about to run over a bunch of Flagellants, and then we net him down, and all the Handgunners are getting brutal crossfire, and to make sure he stays in open field, I pretty much sacrifice these Knights of the Blazing Sun to hold back the Hag and the Orc Boar Boys, because I know Grom's in open field here. I'm able to blob up the time of units and bait him into a fat banishment. So banishment's going to be coming down on the Orc Boar Boys right there, and they just get wrecked, dude. So much damage on that blob of units. So far, so good in terms of value. Now, the Orc Biggins and the other Orc Boys are now getting into the front line. On the flank, we do have some Knights of the Blazing Sun or Empire Knights trying to chase down the Orcs, but he is able to pull back there. So far, all 3 Handgunners are still functional, which is great. They haven't been compromised yet, which is always a win. Because in builds like this, it's very fickle, right? Like one big mistake and you can really pay the troll toll. Volkmar still just being an absolute nightmare in the front line. Knights of the Blazing Sun going to be charging into the Orc Boys who penetrated in, pulling back these Silver Bullets at the same time, and also retreating with Flagellants because I don't want him to get free fire with my Orc Air Boys. In the backfield, he's got some Forest Goblin Spider Riders, kind of looking for openings here. My Empire Knights have been doing a pretty good job of defending, and now Grom the Paunch is on his way back. So Grom is going to be moving in here and getting ready to pressure in and have some fun. Empire Knights holding back quite a tide here. Obviously not going to trade super well in sustained combat with Orc Boar Boys, who do, of course, have the better armor piercing values, but we'll see how they do. They're holding back a tide of units. Balance of power is pretty even at this point. Volkmar has been causing a ton of disruption in the front line, and Grom the Paunch is probably going to be getting netted once again. So we net down Grom, and all the handgunners of Sigmar are turning their shots on the Grom. We even get the Light Wizard running in there, and Grom is just getting Last Samurai'd so hard by all this fire, dude. Definitely some huge value. There you have it. Negative 10 leadership. Grom the Paunch is getting broken by the handgunner fire, and the brave Sons of Sigmar, the Knights, are defending the backline pretty damn well, as Grom the Paunch might even be shattering here. Negative 22 leadership. Oh man, if we need to break him here. If he comes back, like, he could still get back up to like a couple thousand HP and be a problem as this game does advance here. So the Flagellant's still defending the back line. Volkmar the Grim is now going after the Hag, but the Hag is relatively an open field. So I was kind of like, you know what? This Hag is like bare bones in the open. Let's pull back Volkmar. There's no point in fighting him there. And just try and use him to terror out off the threats in the back line. And then from there, the handgunners can hopefully open up and really decimate that giant River Troll Hag. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, the pickle certainly was tickled for Grom the Paunch. He's running to the hills right now, 255 HP. And here you can see the Empire Knights able to finish off the Orc Warboys. Although a nice little charge from my opponent here, sacrificing the Wolf Riders, but for a valiant cause to shut down my handgunners for a moment. But yeah, I don't know, probably won't be worth it in the end, considering the Empire Knights were right on top of them. And Volkmar is just doing an excellent job sweeping things up. Balance of power is a little bit in my favor. Certainly not the point of no return yet. He still has a lot of skirmishers. If he can somehow find an opening, get my Empire Knights distracted somewhere, locked down with a Mither, and then shut down my triple handgunners, I could just straight up lose the game. Volkmar will not have a great time versus a giant River Troll Hag in combat, and here comes another net. So we drop a net down on his Orc Warboys right here, trying to slow him down, and now the handgunners are going to be opening up on the cab units, fanning out these ones to make sure I have a good line of sight. But yeah, the handgunners of Sigmar are just doing so much damage. And yeah, we're getting some good value city for sure. Empire Knights, Sigmar Sons, Flagellants able to engage against the Rusty Arrows here. Another banishment coming down from Volkmar on top of these blobbed up skirmish cav. There wasn't too many other good targets, so I figured, hey, this will be nice. And it is able to nail those guys and get some good casualties. So Morgub's Magi Marauders and whatnot in a little bit of a bad way. And here comes Empire Knights riding down the Goblins. Volkmar the Grim rushing to intercept this vanguard of Greenskins, who are probably going to finally get on some of my handgunners. Might be a little bit too late. We will see. The Dova Dog. I love Dova Dog. We actually like call Wookiee the Dova Dog sometimes. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I finally succumbed to peer pressure and got into Warhammer 2 this year. I've relied on your channel to help me learn and play the game. Glad I was finally able to catch you live and say thanks. Thank you, Dova Dog, for the donation, and also for becoming a member. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. And hopefully you're enjoying the game. Looking forward to seeing you in the Swiss tournaments and various other events we have. Cheers, man. It's a great community. We have a lot of nice people here, and who are willing to teach and help, and it's pretty awesome for sure. Now, the giant River Troll Hag is going to be getting locked down, nets of Amatoch, and all the handgunners do just... Oh, I love this. This is so righteous. Just Sigmarite powder just blasting this Hag. Granted, some Orc Warboys finally do get back here on top of the handgunners, but my opponent is getting dangerously close to army losses as the giant River Troll Hag, with even a couple volleys from those handgunners, just puts her down nice and good. Grom the Paunch is coming back, but, you know, Grom could probably not beat Volkmar at this point. Grom is weak to fire because he is a regenerating, so Volkmar actually would have the edge in that duel, which is pretty funny. And the handgunner is able to clean up the Greenskins, and there you have it. GG, well played. Game 1 in our series. Certainly a ferocious fight, but the handgunners were able to stay online and just blast all those targets. The nets were really, really nasty this game, and pretty much nailed most of their targets, which I was very happy about. Volkmar did great. Yeah, 2,100 value on him. Handgunners, look at this, 1,000, 1,400, and 1,900 value on those handgunners. Oh my god, that's so good and tasty. The handgunners really did some solid work. Like, they carried that game so hard. Just blasting Grom, blasting the Hag, blasting the Cav units, just solid. Knights of the Blazing Sun did good defensively speaking, so did the Empire Knights, but the handgunners really carried that game with Volkmar. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. And now for the Greenskins. Grom the Paunch got 97 gold value. Yeah, he definitely had a bad time. The big performers here for the Greenskins might have been some of their Cav. Yeah, 799 here, but for the most part, we were able to mitigate a lot of the army with the nets, so, unfortunately, I don't play High Elves in tournaments, James, and this is a pretty competitive tournament, so, no, you're not going to be seeing any. All right, so let's go ahead and load into the next game here and get this party started. And let's do it to it. Say hello to my little friend, I know. So next game is my Wood Elves versus his Norska. So this is a build that, got to give credit where credit is due. Aerocrastic helped me with this build. Kind of made some suggestions to my other Norska build, which I had success with in the past and worked, but I actually liked the build or the modifications he suggested to my build quite a bit, so I included them here. So big props to Aerocrastic for his help with this, and yeah, there it is. those guys definitely did some work. So we are in the troll country. You guys will notice all the maps are the same in this tournament because obviously they want all the best of fives to be under the same circumstances. So there will be repeats, and this is another one here. So yeah, mass Biggins can be a pain, Satsuma. They're a little bit weak against, not even weak, but cycle charging Empire Knights can do well against them. But yeah, generally Biggins are a pain for the Empire. Yeah. All right, so for my build here, I'm going to be playing Wood Elves, double Swift Shiver Shard, double Hawk Rider. Swift Shiver Shards seem to be quite excellent against Norska with their magic damage and their huge DPS. They can wreck Skin Wolves, they can wreck Berserkers, any sort of Marauder units. Those guys are just aces. Dryads here, we have the Firebark Elders, we have Dryka and Ariel, so a little bit of a blob. Wild Hunters of Kurnus are quite good against Norska. Anti-large and magic damage is pretty much the counter to Skin Wolves. And Glade Riders of Spears, and that's my whole army. So now for my opponent's forces, he's got Marauder Spearmen into the sunset here, and he does have Marauder Hunters with Javelins in the back. Couple Skin Wolves on the flanks. Throg the Troll King, interestingly enough. It's funny because before the game, I almost was like, oh, I should bring... I wasn't thinking this, but I think Arrow and I were talking about like, oh, maybe I should, like, Durthu would be good here, but I was glad I didn't when I saw Throg. I was like, oh, Throg would actually probably trade okay with him there, but even still, Durthu's probably still really strong. He could probably beat Throg. Hard to say. But yeah, that's pretty much it. A very wide army here. So going to be trying to kill his skirmishers and his mobility first. Because then from there, my blob with the Treekin and Ariel and Dryka is going to be very, very tough to manage. So the Skin Wolves are going to be pressuring in. So we're going for the classic 1-2 punch here. So I see the Skin Wolves advancing up. So my Wild Hunters of Kurnus will be bouncing out here in just a second to fight these guys. Hawk Riders just going to be taking freebies, shooting whatever they can, while the Swift Shiver Shards unleash a huge torrent of volleys here into the Marauder Spearmen. But here come the Condom Wolves. So the Skin Wolves are pushing up with a little bit of support here from the Marauder Horsemen. So what I do is I charge in the Wild Hunters, I pull the Glade Riders with Spears around the back of them, and then I move behind them and trap them in. So you can see a full surround. The Skin Wolves are going to try and retreat, but it's far too late, and those Skin Wolves just get wrecked by the Wood Elf mobility. Certainly a lot of damage coming in. Now, a nice Burning Head from my opponent is able to roast a couple Dryads, but basically I'm just rotating away from his strong side, right? Just like in football. Like when you're running the ball, you rotate from the strong side to, obviously attack the weak side of the formation. We're doing the same thing here. Marauder Horsemen trying to come in here, but I do have a buffering of Dryads. Ariel and Dryka doing a great job. And the Firebark Elders, though they're not going to accrue a ton of value, are occupying a fair amount of his army here, so I was quite okay with that. Hawk Riders, though, are chasing down the Marauder Horsemen, so we're just looking for those guys, trying to butter that sweet, sweet bread, flying overhead, and doing okay so far. And Throg is also surrounded as well. Now, Throg is surrounded by the Wild Hunters of Kurnus, who are an outstanding anti-large unit. And so far, these Swift Shiver Shards are just in guard mode, ripping shots here into the Skin Wolves, surpassing their physical resist with the magic damage, and also being covered by the Glade Riders of Spears, who are going to be collapsing in and doing work. Now, the situation gets a little bit dicey. My Wild Hunters start to get wrecked really bad and taking a lot of damage, but Ariel's able to come in with a big Soul Stealer, and that kind of turns the tide of the fight. It breaks some Skin Wolves here, does really good damage against Throg, and the Swift Shiver Shards are now free to fire. So here they come. Swift Shiver Shards should be going into Throg Daddy here, and a huge, huge Burning Head's going to be going down. Nice play from my opponent. Does roast off all my support. But, we took casualties in that trade. We lost our elite cav units, we lost our Glade Riders, but we broke Throg, we broke some Skin Wolves, and I still felt relatively good about the trade. In the meantime, Hawk Riders are just kind of flying about, trying to deal with his Javelins and Skirmishers, but at the very least, they're occupying a lot of his army. And we did pull ahead a little bit on the Balance of Power, but now that Throg Daddy is back with like Scroll of Shielding and different things like that, I could easily be in trouble. And now he's really starting to swarm my army. My Swift Shiver Shards are being compromised by Horsemen. He's collapsing from a ton of angles here. Skin Wolves probably going to come back. I think they're broken. Yeah, they're actually broken, so they might not come back. They're probably going to run off the battlefield here, which is certainly quite nice. It's Troll Country, man. And Dryka, still fighting the good fight. Dryka, of course, is going to be a hard anchor piece to kill. She probably even could kill Throg at this point. And a couple of the Wild Hunters of Kurnus do come back from rally, these brave heroes. And they collapse on top of Throg, who is broken. And also the Hawk Riders up in the sky are shooting him, and the Swift Shiver Shards are shooting him. Throg is really, really having a bad time versus the Wood Elf Archery. And looks like he's going to be running for the hills. Yeah, pretty grim bones for him. Ariel is able to get some nice terror routes, and Dryka, with her support and some Dryad summons, are able to defend the Archer line. Now these Swift Shiver Shards are back online, and much of his army is kind of zoned out here. We do have the Javelins coming back from route here, but those guys definitely need to get involved because Ariel and the boys are they're not waiting around, man. Wolf Riders, or Skin Wolves, are trying to come back, but the Hawk Riders flying overhead, just trying to route them off the battlefield, causing problems wherever they can. And having the Malevolent Dryad summons here in the late game really felt good. Defend off the Norscan troops and give Ariel some support. Then she can rear charge, she can get terror routes, and really, really break the back of this Norscan army. Dryka definitely doing good. It looks like, oh my god, look at Dryka. It looks like she has like you see the artifacting, like how her feet are like tied together. It's like she has a resistance band around her ankles, trying to work the butt, work the legs. Anyways, here And that's going to be it. Norscan army's going to break. Throg killed by archers and hawk riders, and skin wolves work 60% of the time every time, 100% true. But that first engagement was really brutal, and surrounding Throg with anti-large and then getting a huge soul stealer, those variables were really, really nice there. So Draika did okay. Ariel, 1,000 gold. Wild Hunches of Kurnus, 1,500. They did great. Swift Shiver Shards were super MVPs. And again, big thanks to Aerocrastic for turning me onto these guys, because I never really used Swift Shiver Shards, but the application of magic damage and their burst against Norska, really strong. So thank you, Aero, for that pointer there. And yeah, 1,300 and 1,400 here. So definitely worked out. And for the most part, Javelins may have done okay in his army, I guess. No, not really. Yeah, one of them got 1,000 against my other dudes, but this Condom Wolves got wrecked pretty bad. Well, Evan Sherman, that's what you think, but you just wait and see, my friend. So we're up 2-0. Now, if I win this next game, the series is over, and that'll be all she wrote. But if he's able to pull it back, then we're going on, man. We're going on. So let's go ahead and load in here. And now we are on game 3, which is going to be my Skaven against his Tomb Kings. So we saw this matchup earlier. Now you get to see me play Skaven there, and we'll see how this goes. So let's load into this bad boy. Yeah, some fierce battles today, man. I loved playing in this tournament. Like, the players were all so fun to play against. They were all great sports and really represented their clan quite well. Although I don't think this gentleman was in a clan. Yeah. All right, so my rats against his Tomb Kings. His build very different than mine. He went for a very wide mass archer build with like a shit ton of horsemen and chariots, which is kind of like old school, like how to play against Skaven. So we'll see how it does against some older monsters. Let's load it in here. We're up 2-0 right now. See if we can get back and have some fun. So for my army here, guys, in the front line, it's going to be Skaven Slaves. We do also have an Assassin, a Plague Priest, Morskatar's Hellion, Throth the Unclean, and a Brood Horror up on the high ground. So our triple goon squad is Brood Horror, Throth, and Morskatars. We have double Globadier. So the Globadiers are here on foot. And the Globes are designed to basically just kill hordes of Tomb King's infantry with Rat Ogres and all that sort of good stuff. So that's the old build, guys. And I think we have Ixcha's Triads hiding in the trees here just to like take down Bone Giants and big monsters and things like that, with a couple Wolf Rats lurking in the shadows. Now for his army, it's going to be Skeleton Warriors, Mass Skeleton Archers, Double Chariot, Quad Nehekar Horsemen with Ark in the Black. So it's a very different playstyle than what you saw I was using. And I certainly think it's very strong. I think Mass Skeleton Archers, if you don't bring Poison Wind Mortars, and that was the one vulnerability of my build, is that against a build like this, I don't have the range to shut down the archers. So I have to kind of grind it out, and it's a little bit of a scary situation. So I do get the Ixcha's Triads. I summon the clones, and I send them in to fight here. And then I'm going to be trying to sneak these guys around the back of his army to get onto the archers. And in the meantime, the dreaded Skaven Legion is going to be advancing while his archers prepare to shoot downtown. Throughout the Unclean, pulling back here. We're going to be rolling, and the Poison Wind Globes getting some really nice shots here against the Skeleton Spearmen. So, yeah, great value. Those type of infantry die very, very quickly. On top of that, the Plague Priest is going to be dropping some summons, so we drop Clan Rat summons in the back line to chase the Skeleton Archers. And now my Wolf Rats, which I did have hiding in reserve, are going to be coming around the back line to try and shut things down, while the Rat Ogres and other units do try and push in. Now, really nice net from my opponent. He's able to get a beautiful net on Throth. And from there, 2 or 3 units of Skeleton Horsemen Archers are shooting downtown. I know, Satsuma, I really was wishing hardcore. It was like the first thought I had. I was like, God, I wish I had mortars. This would be so straightforward to kill these guys. But instead, this is happening. Throughout the Unclean, getting focused by a million archers. Really good cycle charging from my opponent with his Nehekar Horsemen. And his chariots are also penetrating into my battle lines. While on the flank, Rat Ogres are having to fight Skeleton Spears. And just so much pressure coming in from his build. Very stressful indeed. Clan Rat summons are doing good work. I have Ixcha's Triad hiding in the trees, getting ready to ambush. And the Wolf Rats are able to push in, but he is able to pull past his Nehekar Horsemen and defend there. So I was like, no, Anakin, I was so close to getting them. So the Wolf Rat's going to get karate chopped, but I do also use Throth's Rat Ogre summon. I was like, I need to kill those archers, dude. So we get Rat Ogres plus Wolf Rats surrounding here, and honestly, it's actually not going terribly right now. Now, we do have a Plague Breath coming down, so Skrolk, not Skrolk, but my Plague Priest is able to drop a Pestilent Breath on those archers, doing some really, really good damage. You know, I haven't forgotten any tactical reserves in this tournament so far, I don't think. I think there is one match where I forget something, but for the most part, all the games in this tournament, I played at like 9 or 10 at night. So I was like super awake, I was super alert. Whereas like most tournaments and streams you guys see me on, I'm playing at like noon or 1, and I'm always a little bit groggy at that time of the day. So in this tournament, thankfully, I was like super awake and alert, which I definitely felt good. So Balance of Fire is pretty close. We were able to kill these archers. These ones are crumbling. I have Clan Rats or Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers chasing down this one. So in many respects, the pursuit of the archers is going quite well. We still also have one globe online. I think the other one got chased down and killed by some of his chariots or something. But it's a very, very close battle, honestly. This one could certainly go either way. It looks like a Ushapti summon coming down from him here. I think he was maybe trying to shut down my globes. Yeah, the Ushapti summon will be appearing in just a moment. And I assume he'll be chasing down my globe here. It's a little bit hard to tell. Another Scorch coming down right there, able to wreck those skeleton warriors from the Plague Priest. Now we have a nice gooning attempt here. You can see that we do have Throth the Unclean and the Brood Horror 2v1ing Arkin the Black. And we're much faster, so it's going to be hard for him to get away with poison. But the thing is, Arkin on horseback can maneuver through his own troops. Libra Mortis going down as well, and he also has summons, so he'll probably have a summon to drop to potentially kind of slow my roll. Or maybe the Nehakar Horseman, a little bit hard to say. So my Globadiers are shut down. He's able to get the Ushapti summon plus a Skeleton Chariot in there, and on the far side, my Wolf Rats are basically just running from his horsemen, but probably will be caught eventually. And Throth and the boys trying to catch him, but very good play from my opponent. He pulls in the Nehakar Horseman, he screens me out, and blocks both of my rat monsters. I think one of them manages to kind of squeak by. Pun completely intended. But he does block up the Brood Horror. So at this point, I felt a little bit less comfortable about going after him because I saw the Khemrian War Sphinx coming. So I was like, maybe I should peel out here. But the Plague Priest is going to be the fresh fish here. Another nice net of Amachok from my opponent on top of the Morskatar's Hellion means that the Hellion is going to be getting gooned out pretty good by those Skeleton Horseman archers there. So this bad boy going to be going down and taking a bit of damage in the process. Well, going down, getting buttered up pretty good. And my Plague Priest is getting punted by the War Sphinx, which really, really sucks. Throth trying to chase down Arkin, but for some reason I wasn't able to stay on him, and my opponent really did a great job using 2 units of the Nehakar Horsemen, one to shut down these Brood Horrors and one to shut down the other one. Very, very masterful control of those units. Now we have some Globadiers back. We also have Morskatar's Hellion, which has retreated to relative safety. My poor assassin in the back was finished off, I believe, by some crossfire from the archers. And now at this point, I'm like, I need to kill these damn archers, because if I don't kill the archers, I'm going to have a really, really hard time. Cannon, aside from tourneys, how active is Warhammer 2's PvP scene? I've only done... It's pretty active in the Discord communities. Quick battles are kind of like a mixed bag. You can get some like really toxic games and it can be pretty unfun, or you can run into really great people and have a good time. But generally, I would recommend playing in the Discord communities and then in tournaments. That's where you're going to have the best games. But like in our Discord, for example, we have, I think, like thousands of people who are involved in the multiplayer and are playing quite regularly and can really teach the game. So that's that. So here we do have Throth the Unclean. He gets netted once again. My opponent has been really, really on point with his nets this game. Over here we have Morskatar's Hellion and the Brood Horror, which are going after the Nehakar Horseman and doing some good work. And the Skaven Assassin actually came back, although he is wavering, probably due to the presence of Arkin the Black. Arkin comes in for a charge. Brood Horror, Throth going to be jumping in as well, trying to get some freebies here on the Arkin. Although Arkin is surprisingly tanky for a wizard. He does have, what, like 50 melee defense? Something like that. It's really not bad, honestly. So if we look around the battlefield, it's a really, really close game. I got the Brood Horror. I have the Morskatar's Hellion. It looks like he does use a Skeleton Warrior Summon to push off Throth, because I don't think he wanted to take that beating on Arkin there. And yeah, it's basically just going to be a monster mash. He has a mobility advantage, though. He's got Nehakar Horsemen like all over the place, so that was really concerning, because I kind of felt that most of my my army would be, breaking, getting chased down. And you guys saw what happened earlier when the Skaven were left with just their monsters. So here comes the isolation. We are able to juke back here, and now my Brood Horror plus Throth with Creature Killer active are able to get some good damage on the Khemrian War Sphinx, whereas I send the Morskatar's Hellion to go after the Lich Priest and try and take him out and get some freebies. But that damn skeleton summon, man, the Brood Horrors really don't like being surrounded by infantry. Although, yeah, Morskatar's Hellion just doing the work of the gods. Taking that Lich Priest to Pound Town, baby. Down he goes. Certainly some very, very good value there. Archer Fire continuing to reign in. I wasn't able to finish him off. Again, giving myself some grief for not bringing Poison Wind Mortar. God, they're so good against archers, too. And here the Morskatar's Hellion is going to be getting punished. So, unfortunately, a little bit of a misplay. I allow the Morskatar's Hellion to get separated from his pack, and my opponent is able to come in and take him out. However, even with the Morskatar's Hellion being broken and or killed, I'm still doing pretty good on the balance of power. It's still even. It's still anyone's game. We get a couple Rat Ogres even getting into the back, and those Ogres are able to take out the Skeleton Archers. -47 here, -1, crumbling across the board. It's really just a serious scrap. This game is just so close, dude. So many games in this event have been awesome. Now, the Brood Horrors here are healing still. Throth the Unclean, unfortunately, is at his healing cap, but the other Brood Horror not terribly close to his healing cap. And the Globadiers are still functional here, thankfully applying some poison to Throth. Well, true Skaven companionship here, really just poisoning their leader. It's very Skaven-like. Maybe Clan Scryer is trying to have an uprising against Clan Mulder, who knows. But the Globe's able to get great value. Poison damage is ticking on the Skeleton Spearmen here. And getting rid of the buffering units will allow my monsters to fight his monsters in a vacuum, but Arkin is no slouch of a combatant. Arkin, even on horse here, has 450 weapon strength, so against, 45 armor on Throth, that actually hurts really bad. So you don't want to underestimate Arkin. Anyways, globes still throwing in. We were able to break the skeleton spears, and we are now potentially going to be going for a gooning attempt here. So the Brood Horde gets a nice rear attack here on the Khemrian War Sphinx, making sure to lead with him because I know how damaged Throt is. We're going to be trying to pile in on this guy here. The other dude going to be jumping around the back here. And Throt gets a little bit of a bad trade. You know, I thought I was going to lead the way with the Brood Horde and then rear flank with Throt and get us around, but in the end, I ended up taking a bit of a beating there. And on top of that, all my support is about to be shut down. You know, my Globadiers and other units about to be put in the can. And so far, Arkan with the Staff and Bagash and the Khemrian War Sphinx just holding firm here and really out-trading my Brood Horde. So I'm like trying to get away because I know 1 or 2 attacks, Throt's going to be broken and running. So I have to really get the opportune engagements. So my school of thought here was like, all right, I'm actually pulling ahead on the balance of power for some reason. Let's go ahead and kill all the Nehekar Horsemen. Let's kill all the mobility. Then from there, maybe I can rally like some Skaven Slave Spears or Clan Rat Spears and get some buffering in my army. We'll see. But man, that Brood Horde is just getting righteously whooped on by Arkan and that Sphinx. It is serious business. And leadership is a big issue with Molder monsters. They're, like I said, that's one of their big weaknesses. They're fast, they're strong, they regenerate, they have all the traits to make a powerful unit, but in the end, their leadership is quite poor. My opponent collapses very, very well with the Nehekar Horsemen here. Now we're kind of stuck in this ugly blob fight. I do have Creature Killer, I have a little bit of support with Skaven Slave Spears, who also get the Creature Killer, but Throt gets charged by Arkan and takes a ton of damage, while the Brood Horror gets some really nice work here on the Khemrian War Sphinx. You can see him trying to juke around. I'm Benny Hilling his formation. Throt the Unclean coming in for a side charge, and if we can get this Khemrian War Sphinx down, I'll be feeling pretty good about this, especially considering we have a little bit of support, but the Khemrian War Sphinx is at 400 HP. It's so damn low, negative 26. It's crumbling, but not fast enough. Only 10 HP per second. Throt's at 13. Other Brood Horror is still trying to take this beast out, but we can't quite hit it. And Arkan the Black and the other dude there doing some great work. And even though I'm ahead on the balance, like, I have like nothing left in my army. And if everything breaks, I could be in big trouble. So the Khemrian War Sphinx has fallen. Now Throt is piling in. All that's left is Arkan the Black. We've pretty much killed everything, and it's looking like the game is perhaps in the bag here. You can see 2 leadership. We have the Nehekar Horsemen crumbling down. Throt should be able to handle Arkan the Black, especially with some support nearby. Look at this. We even have the Triads coming in. But then the surprise summon out of the back pocket. And Throt breaks, and I was like, oh god, Anakin, I'm too weak. He's got so many skeletons. Just so stressful. Oh my goodness. And here it comes, guys. The battle is on. Arkan the Black moving in. And then, like, I was like, oh my god, am I going to lose this? Like, I thought I had this series 3-0. You know, Throt is so low. The Brood Horrors are so low, and this damn legion of skeletons is just charging in. The Globadiers were able to get some shots. I throw in some Clan Rat Spears trying to hold those guys back. Alexander, thank you for the huge donation. I'll get to it right after this game, brother. And yeah, we have a couple extra Triads coming in. Now, in accordance with tournament rules, and another Spirit Leech on Throt breaks him. So now suddenly it's like Arkan and the freaking Skeleton Warriors versus my beat up Brood Horror. Throt is Spirit Leeched. He's running. He is not coming back, dude. This was a game I 100% thought I had it. And now suddenly I'm on the back foot. The Skeleton Summon is just anchoring. And now that I'm out of units, I have to stay and fight. In accordance with banner rules, I can't, like, you cycle charge too crazy right here, right? So I have to stay and battle him. And Arkan is very, very hard to break. He'll probably be able to break the Brood Horror with the Skeletons. Without the Skeleton Summons here, I think my Brood Horror might have won. But he's able to win the game. Crazy comeback, dude. Crazy comeback. Alexander, thank you for your donation. He says, I said it would be the last donation. It seems like I lied to you. Sorry for that. Please take this money as a prize for the faction war. 100% I will, man. Thank you so much. Donations like that make those big tournaments much easier. We're going to have, Alexander, speaking of, we're going to be having the Legendary Lords tournament in January, which is going to be a faction war with every single Legendary Lord in the game represented by a solid tournament player. It's going to be awesome, dude. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully the Horned Rat will get enough sacrifices. Skaven will probably do very well in that tournament. We have Hadri's playing Deathmaster. We have Chosen One playing Skrull. It's like, yeah, it's going to be real, real crazy. I thought I had it too. Well, my opponent was so scrappy. He played so well and pulled it out. He got me, dude. He got me. He played well. He outdid me there. And now he's back on the board, 2-1 in this glorious, glorious series. That was a really fun match, though. A couple misplays, build inefficiencies. Double globe, that was bad. I needed to bring mortars. Mortars would have killed the archers. So that was a big misplay, but also losing the Morskatars Hellion in that one. I should have kept them together. Kept them back, played smart. Losing the Morskatars Hellion was really, really rough. Yeah. So, yeah, good value across my characters, more or less. The Brood Horde did great. Brood Hordes are so good. So good. And yeah, the Morskatars always does pretty solid. Wolf Rats, could have gotten more value with them, killed more archers, but I didn't. And he had really good nets too. The globes were kind of the weak link in that build, honestly. I didn't like them. A lot of that damage was probably friendly fire on my own units. So yeah, Arkin did great. His netcaster did good. He also got great value on his Khemrian War Sphinx. Look at that, 2,500. And yeah, his chariots penetrated. Great play for my opponent, man. That's like classic Tomb Kings against Skaven. And he made it work against Mulder, which is really, really impressive. All right, let's keep going. Let's do it to it. Hey, Gidra, I'm glad you're enjoying. So let's go ahead. And game 4 now is going to be my Tomb Kings versus Vampire Counts. So I've already played my 3 best factions. If you're looking at me in a competitive lens, Empire, Skaven, and Wood Elves are currently my best factions. And I'm pretty good at Chaos as well and Vampire Coast. But aside from that, you know, I'm a little bit rusty with many of the other factions. So now you're going to get Tomb Kings again. But this time it's going to be me on Tomb Kings and him on Vampire Counts. So now if I win this, it's over. If he wins it, we go to a rubber match. Yeah. Troll King in multiplayer, he's good. Yeah, Throg is pretty bad in campaign, Hank. But in multiplayer, he's decent. Yeah, Anti-Large, Frostbite, Regeneration. I mean, those are all traits that are really good. Yeah. Vicious Satsuma, 100%. Plus, the thing is, the Tomb Kings could probably like resurrect or reanimate many of their dudes, whereas the Skaven can't. Well, the Skaven can just breed more, I guess. So it is what it is. So now we are here with the Tomb Kings versus the glorious Vampire Counts. And I have to say, I really brought a heavy-duty mouth-breathing build. This is like a build that you just sit, stare at your monitor, and like breathe heavily and just like let it happen. Very, very low skill kind of build here. But, you know, it's fun. We got Tomb Guard with Halberds. We got the King Nikesha's Scorpion Legion. Sphinx, Titan, Arkin, and Necrotech. It's like a basic blob. And then we do also have these Sepulchral Stalkers here just to like shoot these flying units. The classic undead boxes. Always a fun time. So I'm not the best Tomb King player. I'm okay at playing them with Ushabti Great Bows and like Nehekar Horsemen, but playing boxes or like defensive like monster builds like this is probably not my strongest point. So we're going to be putting it to the test here against his Vampire Counts. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got a Terrorgeist. He's got double White King on foot. Vlad von Karstein, dude. What a hero this guy is. He's got Blood Knights, Black Knights around, and it looks like it's going to be Graveguard into the sunset. So that's pretty much it, guys. And we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding just to get the armies in position faster, since a lot of it is just kind of jockeying for position and just feeling each other out. Very, very common here. So just waddling towards one another. An Ushabti Greatbow would have forced him to attack here, but there's the Shem's Burning Gaze. It does nail Vlad von Karstein and does some pretty good damage here, and battle is on. Decent guy. Would you be able to set up a kind of viewer tournament wherein there's a very trivial prize or award for predicting the most matchups correctly? Yeah, we do that in Faction Wars. And honestly, I do have like casual tournaments every now and then where like, you know, it's a good way to kind of get into the practice of it. The Swiss League is probably the best one I'm running right now for newer players, because like if you lose your first couple weeks, you'll get matched against players who've lost as well, and it's a really good way to learn. The dreaded 2 IQ Tomb Kings build, I know, that's what it is. It's pretty funny. So basically, we're just going to be spamming Spirit Leech on Vlad the entire time, trying to wear him down. You know, cutting the head off the Vampire Snake is always pretty cost effective. So here it comes, man. It's really important these kind of builds to like stay in a box here. Tomb Kings are super favored in the Vampire Counts. Hargrovius, I wouldn't say so. I would say it's kind of like a bit of a wash, the matchup. I don't think Tomb Kings have an advantage against Counts. I don't think Counts have a huge advantage here either. Granted, you know, if you talk to mains from either faction, they'll probably say their faction has the worst of the matchups. Just how it always is. Like when you're a main, you know, people are always like, oh yeah, my faction sucks, but, you know, I happen to win because I'm good at them. But, you know, I honestly feel like the matchup's a bit of a wash. We actually saw this in the Everchosen. It was, I think it was Aerocrastic against Fisstech. Fisstech was Tomb Kings and Aero was Vampires. It was a good match. So it's a matchup you do see fairly often here. Tomb Guard Halberds, of course, taking minimal damage against zombies. Should be able to wear those guys down and crumble them in a matter of time. And just kind of sitting here, the Sepulchral Stalkers are going to be sitting on the edge, just shooting at the Terrorgeists or the Terrorgeist the Terrorgeese. Ooh, really nice Scab's Great. My opponent with some really, really nice ones this game. The whole series, man, I've been getting nailed with those things. And here are the Sepulchral Stalkers getting some really nice shots against the Goose here. Obviously, you can do some huge damage against those guys, and you can't really attack me because I do have some spear support. And the Necrosphinx just piling into the zombies, trying to do some damage where it can, and the Goose in the back is getting shot. Zero in chat is saying that he thinks Vampire Counts have a slight advantage. To me, it feels like a bit of a wash, but yeah, Vampire... I always struggle in this matchup. I don't know why. I'm trying to remember. I think I picked Tomb Kings here. Or no, he picked Vampire Counts, and I think I picked Tomb Kings. Which, you know, my other options were Chaos, which I'm good at Chaos, but they suck against Vampire Counts, and my other option, aside from that, was Greenskins, as far as what I'm comfortable playing in tournaments. he banned High Elves, which, of course, High Elves are a really hard counter against the Vampire counts with like Tempest and Larry and things like that. But yeah, so I went with Tomb Kings. I didn't have too many picks left that I was comfortable with. Maybe Greenskins I could have done a little bit, you know, more of a dynamic build, but in this case, we'll see how it goes. So the battle is on. The Sphinx is going to be rolling back. Zombies in the front are crumbling down, and spears and halberds are holding their own. And so far, so good, honestly. It's looking as it usually does here in this matchup. The Tomb Guard halberd's able to crush down the zombies in the front with a little bit of support. And now we're getting onto the Grave Guard. This felt really good. His Grave Guard are unsupported here, and we're able to get a zombie summon on top of him, or a skeleton summon. And also, you know, get the Titan kind of whomping on these guys, which is certainly quite strong. And yeah, so far the box is holding. A little bit of a mistake here leaving these Skeleton Spearmen over here. You really want to keep everything back to back here. Scab Scrape is really good against the box, but generally speaking, the value you get from not giving up your flanks is better than the value that the Scab Scrape can get. So we do have the Serpents. We have the Eyes of the Desert shooting up here. My opponent with very good patient Vampire Count play. It kind of reminds me of like watching Tank play or many of these Vampire Count specialists where, like, you know, you don't commit everything at once. You trickle in with like zombies and chaff and wear them down and try and poke and prod and look for openings. Very much an important thing about the vampires. Also, something that's really scary is the fact that he has Vlad and White Kings. I don't really have that much that's great against infantry in my army. I have the Titan, which is pretty much my only unit. Yeah, that can like fight against Vlad effectively. So in this case, I do have the Necrotech plus the Titan going after Vlad, and we get some really good damage. But Vlad could easily manhandle that Necrotech. And now my Sepulchral Stalkers, you can see the box kind of collapsing here. I overextend with those Spearmen chasing him, so my opponent baited me out there a little bit. And then suddenly the Blood Knights come back in and really get a nice hammering and are able to punish my Eyes of the Desert. However, in response, I pull the Halberds in, I use Labor Mortis, and my Eyes of the Desert are suddenly safe and stable. So from here, I'm going to turn around, we'll start shooting the Blood Knights right in the face, and it could be a relatively good situation. Balance of power is really damn even. I don't think anybody's gotten like super good value trades yet so far. He's lost some Graveguard, I've lost some Skeletons. Maybe him getting the Goose here is a problem, but here's a nice isolation. We actually get the Terror Goose to land, and the Cambrian War Sphinx, or the Necro Sphinx, going to be coming in and getting a huge shot there on the Goose, which felt really good. However, his Blood Knights are coming around. I don't really have infantry to screen here, so there's a big opening here for his Blood Knights to potentially charge in. Yes, Vlad with Guardian is very good, but who gives Guardian? Does he even... No, Vlad can... What gives Guardian on the Vampire Count roster? Not White Kings, that's for sure. I don't think anything does. What? Am I just totally spacing out? Vlad without Guardian. Oh, you're saying Vlad without something to guard him. Okay. But yeah, even if you had Guardian, the Titan does do physical magic damage, which would circumvent the physical resist of that. So not too big of a deal. I don't think he does. So Tomb Guard Halberds here getting blasted by a Scab Scrape, and it looks like another Skeleton Summon is going to be going down on top of these guys. Mainly just using Skeletons to buffer. However, maybe I should have been a little bit more conservative with the Skeleton Summons and used them to block charges of cavalry and things like that. In the meantime, my Necrotech gets righteously whooped on by the double White Kings. The White Kings are great anti-infantry pieces, and Necrotech's only have 50 armor. So Vlad and the White Kings really able to manhandle in that situation. Here, Ark in the Black still fighting the zombies, and the Eyes of the Desert did get healed up by a Restore, but they're very isolated here. I do have a couple of Halberds nearby, so I will be pulling them in, and you can see the big old Necro Sphinx going to be jumping out here, hopefully to help, but the Blood Knight charge here is going to hurt really bad. As I once again, yeah, no Guardian on the Vampire Count roster yet. I know, it'll happen. You just wait, there'll be something. Yeah, like a Tomb Guardian type character. I mean, it makes sense, right? Ark in the Black, Libra Mortis, Staff of Nagash going down, as well as Skeleton Summon just appearing. There should be another one relatively soon. We actually get a good trade versus the Blood Knights, though. The Blood Knights do come in to attack, and we drop the new Shopti Summon on top of them, and we also rotate the Halberds, so we do kill a lot of Blood Knights in that trade. However, my opponent did get some big damage on the Sepulchral Stalkers, and honestly, probably a relatively even trade overall. As far as the ground fight goes, I do have some Halberds left. He's got a lot of chaff, though. He's got, like, Graveguard and zombies, and yeah, a lot of Graveguard. Like I said, as far as the meta for this tournament goes, every game I played against Vampire Counts, there was always a lot of Graveguard, which is very different than, I would say, the style that we usually see in our tournaments here. So, battle rages on. Ark in the Black and company still fighting the good fight. The Necro Sphinx and the Ushapti Summon and grinding it out. Honestly, the biggest issue right now is the foot characters. Like, you know, Ark in the Black is not going to be efficient there. Invocation of the Heck going down as well in the Blood Knights, and my Eyes of the Desert. I think I was like running from something here, and they got a little bit isolated out in the open. And my opponent, very well played to him. He isolated these guys and was able to lock them down and do some work. Is the Bone Giant viable in these matchups? It could be. Like a single Bone Giant in the middle of your formation, forcing them to attack you, while you actually stay inside your box, I think it could be relatively efficient. Plus, like, it's still a big monster, which isn't bad against Vampire Counts. So, balance of power is somewhat even. Here I'm able to get some really good trades. So the Terror Guy's getting whooped on. We also drop another Skeleton Summon from Arkin, which is able to block the White Kings and save Arkin. And the Goose is actually dying, so I'm pulling ahead a little bit on the balance of power. Not ahead, but back to the middle. And getting the Goose low is a huge win. It's one of the main threats against my Sphinx here, and also Spirit Leech is going down. Although splitting the Spirit Leeches between Terrorgeist plus also Vlad, I don't know if that's the best play. Probably focusing them all in one place would have been better. Like maybe doing it on the Blood Knights the whole game. But Vlad, you know, Vlad is also quite low, so getting him to this point definitely feels quite nice. Halberds holding their own. We got 54 plus these skeleton summons, but I just can't kill those goddamn White Kings, man. My Titan's really slow. Beautiful Scab Scrape from my opponent. Really, really nice cast right there. A second one coming in, just buttering the bread of my my poor infantry, and my skeletons actually disintegrate from the amount of damage they take. So now it's time for some Supreme Benny healing. Ark in the Black is going to be running in circles. He's got 31 speed against 33, so White King's actually apparently got a little bit better cardio. It's like, all right, well, I have to... The stars kind of have to align here. I need my Iroh Titan to beat down Vlad. I need the Kemrian or the Sphinx to kill his White Kings, which actually the Sphinx did some huge damage to that White King right there, but it's a really close game still. I mean, Vlad von Carstein very low, the Titan able to really spank him up. But the problem is as soon as I get an open field, he still has Blood Knights, he still has Black Knights. There's so much stuff going on here that's really, really scary for sure. And yeah, man, it's looking pretty grim bones as his Goose comes in now, able to jump on the Titan in an isolated situation without halberds. Ark in the Black is just getting schooled by the White Kings. You know, the White Kings, of course, very durable and annoying for the cost. We do drop a Spirit Leech on that guy just as a final message to him from the grave. But Arkin is not going to be able to get away. Both White Kings have him in open field now. There's cavalry nearby. I'm trying to get him. The Sphinx is doing some good damage, but in the end, I think it's going to be too much, and my opponent is going to be able to hunt down Arkin. And from there, it's basically just a grind to kill my big monsters. Well played to my opponent, man. He got me again. And I know a lot of you guys in chat were saying, like, oh, this looks like a quick 3-0, but I'm telling you, man, it ain't over till it's over. And he played a good game, and, you know, I got to practice that. My box got opened too many times. I let in too many free charges. I have to be more disciplined. I have to stay in my box. But it's not usually, I don't usually play like that. So it felt really out of like style, but I knew it was good against vampires or functional, but I just wasn't good at it. And my opponent really capitalized on that. And I love the Vlad, like White King on foot. So badass, dude. Samuel Christensen, thank you for the 50 CA. Happy late Christmas, early New Year's. Thank you for the year of entertainment. More to come, dude. Thank you so much, Samuel. And guys, we got another rubber match. Another best of 5. Oh my god, going to game 5 here. Well played to my opponent, man. And who else could it be in the last game other than the Dawe? The dwarves are coming, man. Satisfy the grudge. Honestly, it was fine. Eyes of the Desert, a little bit sloppy, but we still got 1,000 value on them. Titan did really good. 2,400 on the Titan. I have to think inside the box, yeah. I got to practice that. I'm really not good at that. 2,400. 2,400. My monsters did good, honestly. It was just, you know, letting my halberds get surrounded and chip down wasn't good. I did not throw that game. I was trying, trust me. He outplayed me there. 1,800, 1,600, 900 here. Blood Knights 1,800. Yeah, great value on his Blood Knights. Really, really solid stuff. All right, guys. And now it is time for the 5th and final game here in the series. And again, guys, I'll be back sometime in the next couple days with the next other 2 games from the tournament, so you'll be able to see my overall standing. So let's go to the intro graphic. Very good. Let's get it going. You guys ready for this? This is my favorite build I've used in so long. It felt so good and so funny. But it's a little bit risky. It's certainly very all in one direction. Oh, man. Oh, here it comes. It's going to be my dwarves against his chaos. So in the last matchup here, he picked chaos and then I picked the dwarves to fight them. My 2 options here, I had dwarves and I also had Vampire Coast, but I was a little bit out of practice with Coast. I've been playing more dwarves lately, and this build, guys, I hope you're ready for the ultimate dreaded Haggard build, the epitome of them all. The Palpatine cackle shall welcome it in. It is just the most janky build ever. All right, here it comes. So let's switch back to the game. My dwarves, this was with game 5. Everything on the line here in this best of 5 series. And guys, we're going with the dreaded Dawi Air Force. So check it out. So we have double gyro bomber. We have double brimstone gun and 1 steam cannon. So it's a massive Royal Dawi Air Force. Yes, dude, it's coming for blood against his Chaos Army. Now, the rest of my army is going to be Norgumling's Ironbreakers, Grumbling Guard, Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, Dragonback Slayers, Grombrindle, a Runesmith, and Felix. So, something I learned is that Grombrindle actually loses really bad in combat to Sigvald. So, in order to beat Sigvald, you need to bring like Felix and some support. So, that's pretty much it. It's like I just sit back here with this army while I fly with the Royal Dawi Air Force and harass him. It is so funny, dude. Hey, Misha, thanks again for all your help. All right, so for my opponent's army, dude, you guys are going to love this. You are going to love this, bro. He's got Marauder Horsemen, so he does have some anti-air. Granted, he doesn't have Manticores. So I felt pretty confident with my Gyrocopters against his Horsemen. He has 4 in total. Aside from that, an entire army of Great Weapons, Chariots, Sigvald, Pendulum Caster, and then Chosen. It's very standard. Now, this map actually sucks a little bit for Dwarves in some respects because of the forest. So if I had artillery here, he could walk all of his expensive units through the trees and then ambush me. But in this case, I simply just don't care. I'm just going to be trading with Gyros here. So we're just going to start blasting these guys. And you can see the shots really doing some big damage. Yeah. No, you got it. I played against Chaos in every single best of 5 in this tournament. And every time they brought Sigvald. So I was getting used to it. I was like, okay, Sigvald's going to be a problem. Let's switch up the build. And here we are. So big shots coming in. The Marauder Horsemen getting wrecked by the Royal Dawi Air Force. I mean, just so much brutal damage. And they're not the throwing axe variant. They're just the basic variant. I think the reason why he brought the basic variant was to deal with Slayers. So you just kind of sit behind the Slayers with like a bunch of cheap horsemen and pick them off. And it can be pretty effective, actually. Granted, I still think throwing axes are the way to go. And Apocalypse later, dude, Hadri's coming up with that. So good. So yeah, just kind of blasting here. I know that if I can kill all of his Marauder Horsemen, I can really, live long and prosper here. And yeah, Fortunate Son. I wish I could actually play that right now. That'd be so good. We could do this here.
Welcome to Estalia, gentlemen. I will not lie. The chances of your survival are small.
There you go. Hopefully that fits in the character there. So yeah, the Gyrocopters are doing some good damage against the Marauder Horsemen, and yeah, so far so good, man. It's going good. I thought about going for a bombing run with these ones, but the thing is like the Chaos Legion is still approaching my army, and my army isn't like much to look at. It's definitely going to really struggle against Chosen with great weapons, and yeah, man, we're trying here. So you'll notice I'm saving ammunition on the Gyro Bombers. Gyro Bombers are really good against single entities with their machine guns, so I'm trying to use just the Brimstone guns as well as the Steam Cannon to kill his cavalry. Because, he does actually have a Manticore. That's right, he had 1 Manticore. So, basically I wanted to use the Gyro Bombers to kill the Manticore and really polish that bad boy off. Whereas you can see I'm just kind of juking and dodging with the Gyrocopters, trying to finish off the Horsemen, and all the Horsemen are looking a little bit bare bones right now. So he's wisely hiding in the trees here and avoiding the Brimstone guns. And, moving through the trees with his Chosen and his expensive units. So I'm not able to really see these guys, and when I can, they're kind of shrouded in the trees. So it wouldn't be super effective for me to, like, shoot them in that way, right? But, killing the Horsemen is more than enough for me. It takes a lot of mobile pressure off my army here. And so far, he hasn't gotten too close to my main force yet, which is kind of just sitting in the back. Yes, this is the true Dawi. The true Dawi filth. It's so good. Hero of Rome, I know you love it, bro. Embrace it. Embrace it. So we're shooting here. Marauder Horsemen getting pounded pretty good. All of his Horsemen are more or less going to be offline here. And, with the mass changes, Chariots won't be so bad against, like, this kind of box I have here. Oh, I know. This build, the way to beat this build I'm using is, like, Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes mixed with a couple basic ones, double Manticore, and then whatever the hell you want. You'll be fine from there. But, yeah, we're blasting, man. The Marauder Horsemen getting downtown. All the units more or less going to be offline here. Gyro Bombers falling back at this point. I don't need them to deal with the Horsemen. And I just want to wait for the Manticore to come over here. So I moved my army this direction because I knew he was creeping Chosen through the forest. So I wanted to make their journey a little bit longer. So I moved this way to try and avoid them. Now here, all the Horsemen are more or less dying. Gyrocopters haven't lost a single model yet. They have lost a fair amount of HP, but you can see the entire Marauder Horseman Corps is in mass exile. And yeah, just moving here. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass going to be rushing in to intercept the Chaos Marauders and should be able to win that fight decisively with their armor and their bonus force infantry. They're quite a strong unit at dueling these type of units. And the blasting charges will be used here in a second. I think I'm going to be throwing them into these throwing axes here, and the box is now going to begin fighting. Here comes the first volley as these filthy Marauders going to be tasting the steel and fire of Grungni as they march in and take some big charges. The fighting is on. Runesmith here uses the Rune of Negation to give a big ward save bonus to my entire stack here, so you can see my entire army is getting 22% ward save. And now the Chaos Chariot was trying to poke its head out of the trees here, but basically the Gyro Bombers were just watching him and making him pay the troll toll. Now in the back, I saw more units coming in. Slayers are really bad at fighting chaff, so I'm like, you know what? I don't have to fight this. Let's get the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass to close this triangle formation and just run the Dragonback Slayers. They're much faster than most of his troops. I should be able to outmaneuver here, so I felt good about that. Gyro Bombers and Gyrocopters still shooting here, and now the Chariots are emerging from the trees with the Dark Prince Sigvald. And the Gyro Bombers just machine gunning these things. Their shots do so much damage. Here it comes. Here comes another one. Chariots, one more shot should probably finish those guys off. And the Chaos Infantry really buckling to my box. The Norgumling's Ironbreakers and the Dragonback Slayers and Grumbling Guard, like, all doing great work. And we also get a Flash Bomb right on top of the Chariot as it charges in there. And we also use a Rune of Wrath and Ruin to slow it down. So the Chariot speed is 8 right there. There's no way in hell that thing is going to get away from the Gyro Bombers. They're able to pick that bad boy off and really, really do quite well for themselves. Now, Balance of Power is pulling back into my my favor here, as we are able to break off those Chaos Chariots. And Sigvald's kind of hiding in the trees, trying to avoid being sniped, as the Chaos Infantry just kind of trickle in and, you know, start to wear down my Warriors of Dragonfire Pass a little bit. But for the most part, we have Felix, we have the Runesmith, and Grombrindle's also still in very good shape. So the Chosen finally emerge, and the Chosen could be a big problem. Gyrocopters in the distance, just kind of chasing units down. Oh, but here it comes. Oh, did I miss a bombing run? Don't worry, there's a ton of bombing runs in this game. You guys will make sure to get those. Anyways, here, Chaos Infantry are broken. Slayer's getting a little bit caught in open field, but I'm kind of just like trying to distract his Chosen here. You can see the Slayers like are able to dodge that pendulum, and he's chasing me with Chosen, which is fine because it gives me time to kill the Manticore and these other characters using these sniping abilities of the Gyro Bomber. So yeah, I don't think I had used any bombs yet because it was mostly just Marauders, and I wanted to save all the bombs to go after the Chosen and the elite troops here. Yeah, all the horsemen are like shattered or running off the battlefield right now. So the Runesmith is great now that you can target here. And now Sigvald's coming in, and I was like, oh, not in our house. Grombrindle doesn't stand alone, so Felix and Gromby do kind of screen him out there. But now comes Chosen. And you guys will notice the balance of power is still really, really close. Like, it's a scary game. These Chosen with great weapons are going to be super effective against everything I have. So trying to snipe his caster here in the back. But here comes the first bombing run. The Chosen. Oh, give me those hot payloads. Oh, God, the Chosen are just getting wrecked by the bombs. Oh, Apocalypse Dawi. And look how much damage that did. That one unit of Chosen got shreked so bad by that bombing run. Almost KO'd down to, like, no health. And I still have 11 bombs on the other one and, like, 6 or 7 left on this one, which is really, really nice. So the Chaos Sorcerer getting sniped pretty good by the Gyros. The Dawi box holding well. Felix and company trading, but this is going to hurt. This pendulum's going to be really painful. I am able to move forward a little bit and dodge it, but you know, you can't dodge everything. But yeah, Balance of Power is still, you know, pulling into the middle. The Chosen are broken there. The bombing run definitely paying huge dividends, and I am able to get a Gyro Bomber to actually attack the Chaos Sorcerer in melee, trying to break him. And another Flash Bomb from Gromby should do some good work. So I have a ton of bombs in the back pocket. Sigvald is in a losing duel. He's Flash Bombed. He's being attacked by Sigvald as well as by Felix as well as Grombrindle. So that's a lot of stopping power as well as healing for my characters. And we'll get some more bombing runs for you in just a second. I think one is coming right here. Oh, God, bomb those Chosen. Oh, that's so good and tasty. Drop those huge Dawi payloads. Oh, the Chaos Infantry are just getting nuked, dude. And you can see the Chosen are just getting riggedy wrecked by that. Brutal damage. Those Chosen breaking. The Chaos Infantry with the bombing runs just scattering to the winds. More bombing runs coming in there. And the Chaos Infantry just buckling. God, it was so awesome. And then Sigvald gets whooped on by the Hero Corps, right? That's how you deal with Sigvald, man. And yeah, there he goes. He's broken. He's negative 25. Usually Sigvald's very tough to kill, but in this case, we certainly had the right answers. And the Gyro Bombers still have a little bit of ammo left, so those Chosen will be getting some love here towards the end of the fight. And the Dragonback Slayers coming from their kiting exodus, going to be rear charging into these Chaos Trolls, and that should be the end of those guys. And I think another bombing run is coming here in just a moment. I can't quite remember. I think there's one more good one. Yeah, some bombs here. Oh, you guys ready for the style points? So this was Hadries and I. We were talking about this in chat during the game. The Gyro Bombers. So they're flying over Sigvald, but we have to send a message. So send Sigvald back with a little bit of something to remember here from the Dawi. So the Gyrocopter is going to be flying overhead while we crush the rest of the Chaos Army, and Sigvald's going to be getting bombarded pretty good. So here it comes. just runs on Sigvald as he runs. Oh my God. And yeah, the Chosen are going to be buckling to the remnants of the Dawi infantry. Gyro Bombers getting in melee, and that's going to be all she wrote. Dude, that was such an absurd ending to that series. I was like dying of laughter with those Gyro Bombers just like nuking so hard. Holy shit. That was crazy. Now, I want you guys to see the value on these Gyro Bombers. 1,100, and then the other one got 2,500. Yeah, crazy shit. Crazy shit. 2,500 on that. That's from like nuking Chosen. So they cost 1,100, I think. So that paid for itself twice over. And the other one paid for itself at the very least. So, yeah, Ironbreakers did great. Almost 1,500 gold value. Dragonfire Pass paid for themselves. Slayers were kind of running and just joking. Not joking, but kiting. Brimstone Guns did fine. Gromby did good. Felix did good. Runesmith did good. Just all sorts of goodness. So, hey, Alexander. Dude, you're just killing it with the donations today, man. Holy shit. Thank you. Damn, let me read this. Let me wish you and everyone on the stream a early, good, and healthy New Year 2021. Yes, man. If Total War Warhammer 3 would come out, I knew what I would play for months. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to play Blood Bowl 3, Alexander. We got to get you in our league, man. We're going to have a Blood Bowl 3 league, and that should be pretty glorious. Thank you so much for your donations, man. I would have been given money to see that, I know. That was such a fun game, dude. It was insane, yeah. Hadries, I think in chat was saying, if now you're going to be seeing this bullshit on ladder. Oh, God. Yeah, the horseman just got wrecked so hard, dude. Oh, my God. It was so funny. Yeah. The Dawi. This was my adjustment, because all right, we're back. We're back. Sorry about that, guys. So now that we're here, I can show you guys the build to kind of beat this. So if you guys are going on ladder and you see a suspicious Dawi pick here, we can go ahead and show you the way. All right. Sorry about that, guys. We should be back now. My internet was being a little bit of a diva. Man, my opponent played really well, though. That was definitely a Haggard Dawi way to end it. It was a great series. Like, he came back from a 2-0, and, like, honestly, momentum is so big in this game. Like, losing the first couple of rounds can be so tough. So, yeah, if you're playing Chaos against Dwarves, this is something... I still think Sigvald is the way. He's so annoying, dude. From there, I actually really like Great Weapons. I find they trade pretty damn well. From here, you need a couple throwing axes, double manticore, and as far as casters go, I mean, you can go... Death is actually not bad against blobs because you can Buna Ironbreakers, but I still think Pendulum is the way. Like, my opponent got some really good value with Pendulum, so you can just honestly bring a Pendulum caster. Enfeebling Foe probably is worth it too. Like, Enfeebling Foe plus Pendulum. What did I... Yeah, that army is pretty great. Give it a try, guys. You'll love it. So yeah, that's what we got going. Scroll of Shielding's pretty good. And then from here, there's a couple, like, fun little tech pieces you can mix in. Because, like, 4 horsemen, and then... Or you could even go like this and then get, like, 2 basic ones, which gives you a little bit more of a dynamic build and also more horsemen to pressure. I like mixing in, like, 1 Forsaken. Sometimes Demon Spew can be really nice. And get a couple Marauders as well. Get some Marauders with Great Weapons, yeah. Like, something like this would be up to the task. Fireball caster could be okay. It depends if... You can juke fireballs, though, so I don't know. But here you have the horsemen, 5 in total, but throwing axe is also a better AP, because he did hit me, but he didn't have the AP to punch through them. And then 2 manticores chasing them, so, like, you chase the 2 bombers with the manticores, and then the other ones you just chase with 5 horsemen. So, you know, it's doable. On top of that, like, you just, you know, Great Weapons, Forsaken to fight the Slayers, and then Sigvald and Pendulum Caster. Something like this would be able to beat that Gyrocopter build. Yeah. Yeah, oh, Kallio, for sure. It was a great game. So those are 2 of the series from the tournament. I'll be back tomorrow, my friends, with the next 2. The next 2 are equally as good as these ones. Like, all the games in this tournament, like, all the players were so solid. It was just such a fun event. So again, thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Hadries and Thomas dropping some Discord links. Thank you guys so much for your help and modding the stream. I know we had some trolls appearing earlier. But yeah, man, it was great. Thank you guys all so much for joining. We'll be back tomorrow or the next day with the other 2 games here from this particular tournament, which was a blast. And just want to thank you guys. This was fun. I hope you guys all had a good holiday with your families, and hopefully we'll get through this new year with some new business in the next year. No more. Is it possible to top that Dawi video? I don't know. I don't know if it is. But you want to know the fun part is? I use that exact same build against another player in this tournament. So you guys are going to see more of it soon. The hot dog stream, for anyone who's wondering, is going to be tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. So if you're in Europe, it's like 8, 9 p.m., 8, 9, 10 p.m. your time, depending on where you are. In the States, obviously, you can do your adjustment. The hot dog stream is tomorrow. It's tomorrow at noon PST. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So the hot dog stream's tomorrow, and then, yeah, maybe the day after that we'll come back with the next round of games from this tournament. So, yeah, it was super fun. Thank you guys all so much for joining. Big thanks to all the mods for helping out. I know we had some weird bots like coming in and just saying some nonsense. So thank you guys for helping. Really appreciate that. Keeps the streams afloat. And big thanks to Alexander for multiple donations. Dude, Alexander, you went ham today, man. Thank you so much for your support. And I will, as you requested, put a lot of that towards the Faction War prize pool. And I'm sure the players will really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Also, thank you to Samuel Christensen, Hamza H. Sorry, I might have missed your donation. Love your cast, man. The stream has already made my day. I got you covered. Dovadog for becoming a member. Alexander again. Dude, man, thank you so much. Sure swag a lot with a huge $100 donation. Thank you. And Dustin as well. Christian Bender. The Ash, Noodles, Melonhead, and Dustin for becoming members as well. Thank you guys. Aces, man. Hot dogs. So here's the thing. Tomorrow's yes, Thomas. The hot dog stream tomorrow it's a 4-player FFA tournament. There's 4 of us. It's me, Italian Spartacus, Professor Pone, and Gojiro. Every time you lose an FFA game, so if you're not the winner of the FFA game, we're going to cut to a Google Hangout where you see all of our faces, and all of us are going to, the losers all have to eat 2 hot dogs for the first game. The second game, if they lose, they have to eat 2 hot dogs. And then from there, it's just 1 and 1. So worst case scenario, you have to eat 6 hot dogs. Yeah. That's the jam. Like, at worst, if you lose every single game, it's 6 hot dogs, but it's not just 6. It's 6 with buns. So there's buns and then condiments as well. The only person who isn't doing buns is Professor Pone because he's not supposed to eat bread. So he's just going to be deep throating the dogs, like completely basic. Yeah. I am the Nitro. Thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. Really appreciate it. And you'll get it tomorrow. I'm going to go to the store and pick some up right after this, and we'll be back. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you back in the next couple days with the hot dog stream, and then the follow-up to this round of games. Should be quite a bit of fun. And again, really appreciate you guys and hope you're all staying safe in this cursed year, or what's left of it. And once again, we'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. Yeah, they're just like ballpark franks, just like basic hot dogs. It's nothing like crazy big. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the other guys are buying, but I'm just getting like basic ones from the store. Cock them. Oh my God. All right, guys. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you guys around. Cheers.